You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I saw them with some birds.
Way down south in Japanabama, where the cypress sways and the creek runs wide, there's a sacred stretch of muddy water where the heart of the people's always tied. Norbert and Aggie stood before the town, said the mud holes meant for one and all. But Jethro's shoguns came riding in, built the tailgate temple tall. Yasuke's riding tall tonight, steel in his hand in the mud just right. Bound by honor, bound by land, for the folks who fish, for the kids who stand. Oh, Yasuke's riding tall tonight. Through the pines and past the levee came the warrior bold and true, with a heart as strong as the rising sun and a 4-wheel drive that flew. Jethro's clan stood shoulder to shoulder, coolers stacked and bonfires high. But Yasuke called the river spirit, and the flood rolled in with a battle cry. Yasuke's riding tall tonight, steel in his hand in the mud just right. Bound by honor, bound by land, for the folks who fish, for the kids who stand. Oh, Yasuke's riding tall tonight.
Could be Trump, yeah, Trump, oh yeah, Trump. 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 Could be Trump, yeah, Trump, oh yeah, Trump.
If Cthulhu can be summoned by humans who are so far beneath it, why can't humans be summoned by ants? The answer is they should be. Well, if a bunch of ants formed a circle in my house, I'd certainly notice, try to figure out where they'd all come from and possibly wreak destruction there. That's why knowing and correctly pronouncing the true name is so important to the ritual. Imagine how impossible it would be to not go take a look if the circle of ants started chanting your name. And they're like, you can't leave because we drew a line made of tiny crystals. Now you have to do us a favor. And you're like, well, let's just see where this goes. Yep, you got me. What's the favor? And usually the favor is like, kill this one ant for us, or give me a pile of sugar. And you're like, okay. And you do, because why not? It isn't hard for you, and boy is this going to be a fucking story to tell, these fucking ants chanting your name and wanting a spoonful of sugar or whatever. And sometimes you get asked for things you can't really do. One of them, she's like, I love this ant, but she won't pay any attention to me. Make me important to her. And you're like, how? So you just kill every ant in the colony except the 2 of them. Ta-da! Problem solved. And the first ant is like, horrified whisper, what have I done? This is the best explanation for higher powers I've ever really heard.
Look at the world spinning so blind. He cracked the code, wired the grind. Told you what's next, mapped the design. Late to the game, he's ahead of your time. Eyes wide shut while he saw through the smoke. Y'all laughed it off, but the guy's no joke. Truth hit hard, left the doubters broke. Every call he made is the master stroke. Called it again. Are you listening? He's got the spark, yeah, he's glistening. Future's on lock, man, he's blistering. Told you what's coming, now it's christening. Called it again. Are you missing it? Pinpoint shot, every hit legit. World's in his hand, man, he's twisting it. Bow to the king, he's the infinite. Called it. Yo, rewind the tape. Forecast so clean it escapes the hate. This ain't no luck, this is fate. Create while you hesitate. He dominates. Kingdom of shadows, afraid of the truth. They feel the corrupt, they poison the air. But justice is coming, we know that you're there. We are the fire, the reckoning calls. No more mercy, tear down their walls. Their kingdoms will burn. Ashes to ashes, they'll never return. Lights into rust, built on hatred, destined to bust.
I was not very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read any comics or do any research.
I wasn't familiar with comics. I wasn't familiar with the movies.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic books.
Yeah, candidly, we were not enormous comic fans.
I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
First thing I was told is don't read the comics.
Really?
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
You know, they're up for anything.
We ultimately decided to redefine it for the series and thought that it worked better for the story that we're trying to tell.
Did you ever read you've never read the comic?
When the DVD comes out, I'm going to read a Thor comic book and just see where we went wrong.
Bang, bang, samurai hero, dodging swords with his outlaw flow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, no respect to show, no fate to bestow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, stealing wheels while the firelights glow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, Yasuke West, just watch him go, watch him go. From a land across the sea, he came with a dream. Sengoku chaos, but he's got a new scheme. No bow, no blade, just a P226. A samurai, no, he's a gunfighting prick. Honor is dead when the bullets fly. He claims he's a savior, but we all ask why. On a bicycle, Yasuke the wall riding legend. Tequila Clan stealing the credits. Bang, bang, samurai hero, dodging swords with his outlaw flow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, no respect to show, no fate to bestow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, stealing wheels while the firelights glow. Bang, bang, samurai hero, Yasuke West, just watch him go, watch him go.
Mama, we must run. The Wendigo Yakuza are here.
We'll be okay. We're not alone.
Where did we park the van?
Cider took you to deliver those flowers.
You all don't stand a chance.
Underneath the moon's cold light, whispers linger in the night. Shadows dance with subtle grace. Secrets hide in every space. Velvet skies and sapphire dreams. Cities pulse electric beams, lonely hearts in shadowed bars, fading tales beneath the stars. We dance in twilight's tender glow, where time moves soft and slow. Eyes meet in a silent song, in the night where we belong.
All right, screw MMA, okay? We found the coolest thing in the universe, and here to observe this coolness with me is the lovely Miss Nerdigans.
Hi, Bounding fans. Yes, we found a lot of cool things over the past week or so, and also very frustrating things.
Check this out. This is not frustrating, though. Check this out. This is so cool. Here we go.
There we go.
Actual armored combat.
That's
I'll
awesome.
be trying to keep it G. I think we're allowed to curse.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it strict.
They are actually going at it. This isn't like the Boffa little fight you have there with the staffs at the con. Real
No.
deal.
Whoa!
Look at that.
You see that hook he
Beautiful.
pulled him in? That was so cool.
That's the one disadvantage with the halberd is you don't have that hook to do that.
Right.
Look at that.
But that
Good block from John there.
Good
He's
block.
so
Yeah.
But
You see the ref has his pole in the back. I don't know what he's going to do with it, but it's back there. He's got his pole. I had no idea about this. I was just scrolling through like cool things to talk about to open the show with, and like this showed up and dudes posting their W's, and I was like, "You what? This is real? This isn't like some UFC mod video game thing. This is a real deal. Two armored guys beating the hell out of each other in the modern age. What? Like this is a whole thing, there, because we can have like different like nationalities. You can have samurai show up and they fight a knight like that Deadliest Warrior thing, but in real
Deadliest
life.
Warrior, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be LARPing Deadliest Warrior.
I want to see that. I want to see that the Japanese robot from Real Steel, the purple one with the yellow features on it, Crazy Boy or something like that. I don't remember what the name of it was, but I want to see that armor. I like that armor, like from Japan, that cyberpunk LED classic samurai, but then that techno purple with the yellow LEDs and stuff. Oh, like you could get crazy with this. You could just deck this right out with crazy like space marine armor. You just beat the hell out of each other in space marine armor.
Or in
Low
Sentai
kinetic.
armor.
Yeah, Kamen Rider fights. This whole thing is ready to explode. This is so cool. Like I have really, we're at the pinnacle of like a brand new sport here. It's this close, okay? Your kids are going to ask you, where were you when Armored Men's Mixed Martial Arts Association started? I don't know what AMMA stands for. I just made it up. So, but tonight we do have RJ McReady here, and he says a showdown between a wannabe samurai and a modern day cowboy. Yeah, that's pretty exemplary of Ubisoft versus Elon Musk. We'll have to get into that a little later. It's quite a few people ended up getting like caught with like what do they call that? Strays. Yeah, getting hit with strays. In that whole dust up. We have a member of the channel, Ravul Arvita, here. I saying, hail everyone. Well, hail to you too. We have Toad here, and he says, last night an alligator took my back.
What?
Well, I hope that you get it back. Your baby back ribs. Right?
Yeah.
We have Kenneth Renz Domingo here, and he's asking RJ how things are going. See, our chat is a community, so if you're interested in joining, rather, feel free to hop in, say hello. We're comfortable around here. We just kind of align around black shirts, so if you wear a black shirt, you're part of the Black Shirt Army, and that nobody's going to get hurt. We're not going to overthrow any governments yet, but it's
Maybe
just
we'll
kind of like
grifters in the process and gatekeep.
The Gooner Gate, the Gooner Gators were thoroughly dealt with, that's for sure. But
some of them are starting to gain momentum, unfortunately.
We do have Sakura Media here saying, hope Spencer is here with his new layout. I don't know. I don't know if Spencer's here. He might be working on an article. He might be joining us this evening. I'm not sure. He's been pretty focused on covering the multitude of news that we have. So sometimes can't make it to the streams. But if he's in the chat, he'll let his presence be known. Spencer, we summon you. But we have Yiching Lao here saying, hello, people. He is just stopping by, though, because he's got some work to do. So we'll see you on the other side where you can drop in. Good luck, though, with your drawing. And of course, we have Leslie Tarkin here. Hail to all you lovely people, and hail to you, too. Welcome aboard. Make sure you check out whatever this armored... What is this? Does it actually have a name? It's just AMMA, so I have no idea what this is. So just Google that, I guess. It's really cool. And I don't know. Maybe I could talk the bosses into sponsoring a yearly tournament of bounding enthusiasts to get together to beat the rock'em sock'em hell out of each other with armor. Yeah,
That'd be fun.
The bosses are pretty open-minded. I don't know where Trent and Della Rose got this idea that there's these weird monolithic monsters. Like, you remember the Nerve guys that were controlling Nerve? They made it look like it was like that. They made it seem like there were these imposing figures. Meanwhile, the boss is like, yeah, sure, why not? If we can find insurance to cover it, let's do it. So I'm pretty sure, like, when we pitched the Bounding Battle Max, they were like, yes, we need to get people. Absolutely, we're behind this. We'll get trophies and t-shirts. It'd be a whole thing. We're still working on Bounding Battle Max. Don't worry, that is going to be a thing. In the future, we will be having other YouTube content creators joining us here on this channel to compete for a trophy in a gaming environment. That's right, we're going to bring the magic of the American Gladiator competitions, the Hulk Hogan test of strength, skill, technique, and the ability to drive little go-karts. That'll all be put into Gmod. That's a friendly little build-your-own obstacle course, build-your-own video game sandbox game. You can get on Steam right now. And we will be opening up a competition from members of the chat, too. Look for that in the coming months. We'll be putting that out for a summer competition. And we'll let people know more details on how that's going to work. We just want to make sure that everything's clear for everybody everywhere, so we understand that there's no hurt feelings when things might not go the way people expect them to go. Okay, it's a big world, and we just want to make sure nobody's going into it with the wrong idea. I don't read kanji, but we're happy to have our friend here, 18. I don't know what that says, so you have to forgive me. We'll just call this 18. This person 18. We have Timon here, the black-pilled meteor advocate, member of the channel, saying hello, Nerdigans, and hello, Cider. Well, hello to you too. But before we get into too many other things here, we do want to stop by and talk about Gundam. The Gundam GQ. I'm just going to call it Gundam GQ. I have no idea what else to call it. They put out another trailer. Obviously, we're not going to play the audio to this, but we do have some really neat visuals. Because one of the things that's been standing out to me is that if you recall, in the last mainline Gundam series, the female protagonist was red-haired with green teal eyes. What do you notice about this protagonist?
We have the same thing, but she's more, and I think if I remember correctly, even in the other mainstream one, she was a tomboy too. So very interesting.
Right. And my thinking is they're trying to overwrite Suletta. Is that they're trying to replace, like, when you go talking about Gundam pilots, they tend not to look alike. When you really go back through the protagonists in Gundam, they tend not to bear too much in common visually. And here we are with two back-to-back that bear pretty much the same physical description if you were to tell the police what they look like. I even think her opening uniform here is the same colors as Suletta's uniform. Yeah, I can't really tell. I can't tell if it's the lighting or not, but I want to say, because Suletta had that white uniform, I think it had soft teals inside of the uniform too. So when this comes out, we'll have to do a side-by-side comparison of what they brought over from the Witch from Mercury to try and, like, don't remember the gay Gundam, okay? Don't remember that one.
Yeah, because there was some backlash in the Gundam community about Witch of Mercury.
Yeah, well, when that last scene happened there, when they were holding hands and they were quite clearly married, right? There was no objecting to what happened with that. This, however, is deliberately going to set a very different tone. This is more G Gundam. From what we're getting out of the descriptions from Japanese magazines that are discussing this, what's gone on with Gundam GQX is that it takes what happened with Gundam, so with G Gundam. So there are various houses within the universal century. This is a alternate universe where Char won the battle against Amuro and claimed the Gundam. In fact, I'm not even sure Amuro got the Gundam to begin with. I think this is a thing where Char got to the Gundam before Amuro did, or the Gundam was captured before Amuro got to it, however it went down. So new types were not exactly the du jour, if you will, of this world. And so they're kind of just emerging, or rather, they're still very new, I guess, to the world, rather than in the UC timeline with Amuro, with Amuro's showing off his abilities. The race to create new types just kicked off, and they became these rock stars of combat. In this world, in this setting, the new types are not exactly expressed. They're out there, people know what they are, but there's no like concerted effort to Pokemon capture them all yet, or make techno-organic new types. I forget what they're called, but so this isn't going to be military movement. This is still going to be like interpersonal drama Gundam. So let's not get it confused with like the military UC. This is very much going to be popularity contest kind of Gundam, just like G Gundam was, but again with girls. So again, it's going to be up and down. We'll have to, find out. And I said we were going to play the audio.
It looks beautiful. The animation does, at least. It looks very smooth.
Well, I think they didn't really have a choice, Nerdigans, because like you don't bring in Hideki Anno and then give him Blue Locks animation. You don't do that. And there's a lot of redheads in this one. I just really think they're trying to get everybody as confused as possible about Suletta. They can just kind of forget about her. I really do. But this new Gundam is based off of Hideki Anno's interpretation of mecha. And as you know, Anno is very organic in his interpretation of machines, as you know, with the Eva being literal organic beings armored up. So his Gundam, as you can see here, is painted up in Char's colors. And again, it's exemplary of Char commandeering the Gundam and making it a symbol of Zeon's power. It's unclear if Char is even alive. This suggests that there was an accident with the Saikamu communication system with his bits, and then he took off Phoenix style into deep space. So we're not sure if Char is even alive in there, if his consciousness has been fused into the Gundam frame as it is, with a lot of like Alice is one of them, right?
Yeah. I think that would be very interesting if Anno went in that direction. If Char was fused with the Gundam, it actually makes sense for him too, because of the Evas being like inorganic beings.
Right. That's the joke, right? Remember he said that about Lala Soon. Lala Soon is a woman who could be my mother.
Yeah.
Oh, did they do that? Did Anno just copy and paste Eva into Gundam? Did he do that? Did he put Lala Soon's soul into the Gundam, and that's why it's so powerful? Did he do that? Oh God. I don't take him to be that basic. I don't.
No, Anno's a lot more complicated and complex than that with his stuff. I mean, that's why people are still trying to decipher Evangelion.
Yeah, it's hit or miss, Timon. I'm not really excited. I am curious. Believe me, they have some really interesting designs. The police Zaku is definitely very captivating. I really like it. But in this universe, what they're doing is they're flipping around that the Federation is the rebellious, semi-well-funded group, as Zeon was against the Federation. The tables have been turned, and that the colonies dictate what happens on Earth. And so, and again, much in the spirit of G Gundam. So, but I don't really hate the concept. I'm just very concerned with its execution. Not that Anno's bad or anything, but it's just one of those things where you don't put blue cheese on your fruit salad.
No,
you don't put blue cheese. And this feels like a blue cheese moment. I'm just saying, it just feels like these two things should, they go well on things. Like blue cheese goes on a salad, but it does not go on fruit salad. You see? And this is the thing, is that Ava's very good. It goes on a lot of things. You could spread Ava around. Gundam can get spread around on a lot of things too. Nice messaging, cool Gundam, cool machines, good ideas. But the two of them together have vastly different philosophies over what's going on with machines and humans. And so, because the Gundam likes to lean into the ghost in the machine, and the Ava likes to lean into like the horror of the machine. And so, because the angels aren't even really clarified as being, living. Some of them have blood. Some of them, like Ramiel, was just a straight up flying polygon, tetrahedron, something like that. It was just two pyramids stuck together, giant flying diamond, and that, is it a machine? We don't know. And so this is where Anno's kind of freaky machine attitude gets lost in the real robot genre. So,
well, if it's horror, it could be very interesting.
Yeah. Well,
this separate itself from the pack.
Well, this Sharified Gundam looks very zombie-like. It looks very undead, and it looks like the flesh is rotting off of it, if it were to have flesh. So I get the idea that this is supposed to be like, do you remember in the Build series when the Meijin would show up and like the whole battle would stop and like this heavenly music would play and there would be like golden light on him?
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's how Char will show up in this series, is that there'll be like a battle happening, and because of the new type energy radiation release bullshit that they'll talk about, like how new types have like their spatial ability, it triggers Char, and Char shows up on the battlefield, and he's not dead, but he's not alive either, and nobody can really tell. And he's like, because he's the king technically, where he's kind of not on the throne, everyone's like, shit, they're gonna know that Char's not around anymore. We need to deal with this. So the race to catch Char, like Phoenix style, will kick off in the middle of all of this tournament stuff. That'll be these customized Gundams duking it out for control of the economy, probably. That seems about right. They'll fuse in 00. Remember when 00 used to have the war to decide who had control of the Earth?
Yeah, I could see that being the case here.
Because like Anno's not very big on anti-war. He's not pro-war either, but he's not like Tomino, where he like lives and breathes anti-war rhetoric. So I don't take him. He's going to take this in a much more spiritual direction. That's my thinking on it. But
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
They ended Looney Tunes. No, they didn't end it per se, but it's definitely headed into the dumpster. We'll just get this off screen so nobody's confused anymore about this. So that's Gundam. We'll look forward to see what's happening. Don't worry about it.
It comes out April 18th. This when it starts.
Yeah, so we've got a couple more weeks before we need to be concerned about it. Honestly, I don't know where it's going to go. I'm just spitballing. I don't have any insider information. But what I do know about Looney Tunes is that they were kicked out of the movie theater for Snow White. The Day the Earth Blew Up only got so many weeks in the theater, very short run in theaters before it was kicked out. Excuse me, I have a hair on my tongue. And so they were kicked out of the movie theater. They kicked out of the theaters to facilitate Snow White being showed off. And then they were removed from HBO Max. The whole entire Looney Tunes collection has been taken off of HBO Max. Now you might ask yourself, why? Of all the things to take off, well, they claim that's low viewership. All right. Now what I have to point out is that millennial parents and Zoomer parents are very touchy. So one guy replied with, and he says, I kind of get it. Don't get me wrong, but I kind of get it. He said, I turned on a random episode. I didn't pick any particular one. And he said, within 5 minutes, Bugs Bunny had shot Elmer Fudd in the face and was cross-dressing. And I was like, fair. That's a big conversation today. That's not what it was back in the 1940s when this stuff was put out. It's not in the 60s, not in the 90s when we were watching it.
Yeah.
But now you gotta explain to your kid, Bug's not trans, but Bugs isn't expressing his pronouns. He's not actually killing Elmer Fudd. As you can see, Elmer Fudd, his eyes are open. His face is just all sooty. That's not blackface.
Like, are kids that stupid? Like, I mean,
They're not stupid. They're just filled full of propaganda. Like, think about this. This is my problem with bringing up pride stuff with kids. Like, what's the difference between hetero and homosexual? The sex part. Why the hell are we bringing up pride with kids? Why does Jimmy have 2 dads? Because that's how his house works. The end. You don't need to know anymore when you're 8. You really don't.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem here, is that when you go showing Looney Tunes to kids now, all these politics come to them. And that's what these parents don't want to deal with. They don't want to deal with, like, Mommy, is Bugs trans? Is he non-binary? Because he wears lipstick and kisses men. Is he gay? Because that's a thing they talk about in class now. They talk about that. What visual cues you can get out of people, you know?
Yeah, but I do want to bring this up too, for how the Earth blew up. It's very interesting because you have the same thing going on with anime, where it's with anime movies, no marketing, like a very short theatrical run. And we've been saying for the longest time that's because Hollywood doesn't like animation. And this is just another example of it. It really is. It's like Disney's trying to keep them out. Warner Brothers ain't doing anything. And in the case of anime movies, which is just mind boggles me, is you have the Kaiju number 8 movie coming, and it's only going to be, or as in Japan, it's going to be in theaters for 3 weeks. Here, it's only going to be in theaters for 3 days.
Right. This is what scares me, okay? So when you take the Looney Tunes down off of HBO Max, which is a streaming service, because there's a low viewership, you have to ask yourself, where are the kids? Are they watching other cartoons? What cartoons are they watching? That data just doesn't come through. What we find out is that there's a low viewership of Looney Tunes. Now, for us, we grew up with them. Okay. And like I said, the politics has shifted greatly. So Looney Tunes asks a lot of questions it didn't used to. Now it does. And so again, what are we looking at? And that's what I try to peel back on this, is that there are less kids in the world. Every country on Earth is going through a population crisis. Every single country on Earth, even China. China's trying to get people to have 3 kids now, not 1, 3. They're calling up your local representative will call you and ask you when you plan on getting pregnant, nerdigans. If you live in China right now, your local elected representative will ring you up and say, "Hello, Miss Nerdigans. When do you plan on cream pie?" That's what they're doing. They're literally calling people up and asking them, when are you going to not use a condom? For the love of Mao. You know, that's what they're doing. It's nuts.
Of course, that comes at the right time too.
Right. Well, he's protective. He knows what's up. No babies, no replacements, right?
You will have,
but anyway,
you'll have a replacement someday, Kitty. You'll have to.
But anyway, the Looney Tunes, I think, is exemplary of how we're moving entertainment toward adults globally. Now, I understand there's been entertainment for adults forever. That's existed forever. But since around the 50s, the economy itself, the entertainment economy, has revolved around children. Children got their parents to go out and get into new ideas. Like the MCU would not have taken off if kids didn't want to see Iron Man. Would not have taken off. Adults, yeah, there's plenty of adults that wanted to see it, but the kids are the ones that kept it going. They're the ones that gave them all that toy franchise, all the video games, all the side, like that Iron Adventures, a little cartoon that they made that was had a terrible art style. But that whole thing, that would not have happened without kids. But now, because the children of the world are just such at a depleted level, the markets are moving into the adult territory, which means the Looney Tunes doesn't have an audience. That's terrifying. When you really tear back why they took the Looney Tunes down, why they're running animation out of the movie theaters, it's because there's no kids.
I don't know about that. I think it's more because they don't want competition. Because they feel like anime is just for, and cartoons are just for kids, and they feel threatened. That's what it feels like to me.
Okay, so if
More-
adults enjoy the Looney Tunes,
Adults do enjoy Looney Tunes. I know a lot of people that are in the YouTubing space, in the cartoon YouTubing space. They love it. They love this movie. When the Earth
Okay.
blew up, it was, and the thing that was great about it in particular, there was no celebrity voice actors. It was actual voice actors, which is really nice to see. And I was hoping that this film would get more people, like especially the voice actors, more motivated to say, put their foot down and say, quit hiring celebrities, hire actual voice actors and like us, and we'll make you money.
Yiching Lao says, I used to watch Looney Tunes back when I was a kid. Yep. That's exactly what it is. That's it was a different world. And I'm trying to really just kind of quantify that even when you try to sanitize the Looney Tunes for the modern age, there's still a lot of gimmicks within the Looney Tunes that are uncomfortable for modern parents. Some parents may not be comfortable with a character pulling out a giant hammer and smashing another character over the head. It seems ridiculous, but that's how sensitive they've become to this stuff.
Like, I can understand Zoomer parents maybe being sensitive to it, but like people our age, we grew up with it. We shouldn't be sensitive to this.
Nerdigans, people our age have teenagers now.
That's
They're not having little kids anymore. They're kind
Oh
of
my God, I feel so old right now.
sorry. They're getting their driver's license these days. They're not starting preschool. It's the Zoomer parents are the ones that have little kids. Sorry.
Well,
I'm just saying, on average, it's not the standard. Just on average, most people that are our age group have teenagers. They're in middle school, if not high school. So that's just they're not exactly the demographic that would be Looney Tunes, and that's why I say
Steven Universe and shit, but adults love it anyway. It's just like it's the cartoon.
Yeah.
It's just entertainment should just be made for a large. Well, in this case with Looney Tunes, it was made for a large audience, and it has a worldwide audience too. It's not just here. Like, for example, south of the border, animation, whether it be Western or anime, is extremely popular south of the border. They love it. It's complete. They have a completely different mindset than people here, and I want to say in Canada as well. For fuck's sake, Australia gets longer theatrical releases for anime movies than we do.
In all fairness, they're closer to Japan than we are physically, and that might have built a stronger market back in the day when they didn't just email this stuff, when they actually had to go on a boat. So it might actually have built a stronger market. Over here, anime really didn't get its like claws into the market to get a strong hold until Toonami. And that's when like Kids WB caught on to it, and like that whole revolution really kicked off. That Asian invasion started in 2001. And so 2002. And that's really when that really kind of caught on. Until then, there were blurps of it here and there. Some of the anime would pop up on a Saturday morning cartoon for a little while, Saturday morning cartoon run for a little while. They would just go away. But until like 2002, there wasn't that steady push for anime. Now it's the most dominant entertainment form on the planet. So they like you said, they're gonna outgrow the domestic market by 2030. And I don't even think it'll take that long.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. A lot of that domestic market, growing, the overseas market is pirating.
Yep.
They're not buying. Like, I know a lot of people now in the anime community want more physical releases to buy.
Because they're pirating it because the corporations on our end destroy it when they bring it here. That's why they pirate it. And that's where the big disconnect is. As you said, they don't want competition. But the reverse is that they're not doing anything to protect American animation. They're not even protecting Pixar. Nope. It's just like everything has to be live action and geared toward millennials right now. We're millennials. I hate it.
Millennials don't even like it. That's the thing that's ironic about the whole thing, is we don't like any of this stuff.
Yeah. We are the modern audience that they're trying to pitch to, but we're not the modern audience they think we are. You got those weirdos from Tumblr that maybe showed up by the tens of thousands in the Twitter replies. Like, this is the thing I told people long ago. They're like, why did Pepsi change their logo? And I said, because tens of thousands of people showed up in their comments section and told them it was outdated. And because Pepsi's run by boomers at the time, they step back and say, whoa, 10,000 people don't like our logo. We got to change it. Meanwhile, 10 million people liked the logo, had no problem with it, celebrated it. But because those 10,000 people were making a bunch of ruckus and saw and got seen for it, there it is. And this is how this animation thing reacts, is that they see a bunch of Tumblrites go, anime is kind of toxic. Anime's heteronormative. Anime like does this fan service thing and unrealistic body types. And they want to talk about things like destiny. And that's, we can't have destiny. That breaks up the Marxist ideology where you belong to the state. And so they just, they can't have it. And so you have people, this is why I wondered, like, how does Katrina keep a job? She literally goes out there and says, I'm wiping my ass with this product and I am proud to do so. I hate the Japanese. I dislike their sense of humor. I am rewriting this multi-million-dollar product to suit my personal humor. So I wondered, how does she get a job? And it's because she shits up the anime so bad that people don't want to be involved with anime anymore. They take a look at that and they're just disgusted so much they don't want to touch another anime again. Got to remember, every anime is somebody's first anime. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be slice of life, mecha, shonen, seinen, anything. And that's how Katrina gets in. And these kids, they see that and they see, oh, the Among Us jokes. They hear the whole Riz and all that stupid shit that goes around, the temporary lingo, right? They hear all that. Kids on flip phones talking about Among Us. You know, that kind of stuff. That's what she does. She sticks that in there. And people, Zoomers see that and they're disgusted. They're like, I don't want anything to do with anime if that's what anime is doing. If they're doing meme stuff, if they're meme lords in anime, I don't want anything to do with it. Thus, the pirating market grows. Huge mess.
It's not just, well, people our age have been pirating for the longest time.
We didn't have a choice.
We didn't. And now, like, the thing that's interesting now, and this is a good segue into Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, is one of the announcements from the Anime Japan panel was that there is a Blu-ray release, a 3-disc Blu-ray release. And the Japanese release has not only Japanese, obviously Japanese, but they have the English subtitles, and they also have an English dub too. I don't know if it's the Funimation one or not, but something I know with Japanese releases is they don't usually use like Funimation subtitles, for example. They don't. So we don't know that for sure, though, if that's the case.
This is Panty and Stocking you're talking about?
Yeah, with Garter Belt.
Yeah. So there is...
yeah, this is the new one. So the new Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, these are new characters that are going to be fighting Panty and Stocking. They are the latest citizens to be booted out of heaven to Dayton City. And we have Polyester and Polythurin. There we go. And of course, these are boys. Trigger has made it clear. These are boys. And these are Angel Brothers. And the majority of the fandom, from what I saw, is happy about it. They love it. They're huge femboy enthusiasts. So, and there's a lot of Fujoshis and shit up in there too that are extremely stoked. But then you got the activists coming in and trying to trans them because of their color palette. We already have like there was a voice actor, English voice actor, that said they're so gender. I fucking hate that saying. Oh my God, it's so gross. It's really creepy. But yeah, these are boys. They're feminine boys, whether you like it or not. And I think it was Polythurin's voice actor said that that the director told him to be really cute. So that's the younger brother. The younger brother is going to be extra cute. So, and there's already Rule 34 of them. It's already it happened the moment it dropped.
So the trouble is that I don't like to put this up to like mistake. I have a feeling they chose these colors on purpose, not to send the message that these guys are trans, right? But they chose those colors to go forward with this in order to make sure that they triggered these people. Not because of the Studio Trigger name, that's not the joke, but because, like I've talked about before, the only way to get around ad blockers is to get people on the ground talking about this stuff. You literally can't advertise to people in a traditional manner anymore. You have to get people like us, like this show, talking about this stuff, and then 50-50 coin flip if somebody's going to be pissed off or if they're going to love it. That's all they can do. And so in order to get the trans community, who is obviously in love with this show, talking about this, they threw these colors in, then flipped it on its head and said, no. These are just regular guys. Don't worry. They do the funny femboy cross-dressing thing, but they're just regular guys. And so that started this whole conversation, right? This is going to be the trans Last Jedi. I promise you. This will be the trans Last Jedi because they're going to go in there expecting all this trans expose, this trans representation, these femboys realizing that they're eggs or whatever the hell their terminology is, and it's not going to happen. In fact, I guarantee you, from what I could see of this arts, the way they're showing these two, look at this. They're just missing the third boy for the Rowdy Rough Boys.
Yep, that's what a lot of people were saying in the comments and the quote retreats. It's like, oh my God, this is the Rowdy Rough Boys here. That's what they're doing.
And in the 90s, villainous men would wear V-necks that cut very low, like women. There were many, many, many anime that did this. And even American cartoons did this. Because again, we were coding villains to be of a divergent lifestyle. Not every villain was gay. Not every gay was a villain, you see? And but it was still imposed in there that this kind of dress was for bad boys who were going out there and causing trouble and breaking what the
norm is.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say the norm. I guess it would be what good is. What good is. They're going out there and being like, I'm going to dress like this because you don't like it. I'm going to go dress like this because it's bad to do it. That kind of thing.
They're very
and I get
rebellious.
that. Yeah, the painted fingernails, all of that. It's definitely Rowdy Rough Boy energy. I don't get submissive and breedable out of this at all.
Oh, the fan base thinks that they're submissive and breedable, but that's headcanon.
Yeah, that's definitely headcanon. They just kind of look like simplified Sailor Moon villains.
Yeah, they do. Like
some
people are just like, oh my God, there's twinks in Panty and Stocking. And it's like we don't know if they're gay or not. I know people want the incest. People want incest in here too, because these are brothers. So it's just like, oh God. The Fujoshis are like, give us our yaoi incest. And I'm just like,
it never ends. It never ends.
Oh God. At least the Fujoshi know that these characters aren't trans. And also it's funny because someone pointed out that the materials that these characters are named after are used in condoms. So don't know if that's what they were going for. Oh yeah, that too. Like a lot of people are saying this is very high puffy Amiyumi.
Yeah, and well, and again, it's the simplified art style with the square fingers and stuff, and that was I think Super Robot Monkey Hyperforce Team Go.
I think they were a little bit more round and like the face and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very, very much like that.
Yep. And so it's again, I don't get trans out of this. I definitely get like 90s Sailor Moon villain out of it, which again, in an anime about girls, what would you expect? What would you want?
I know, certain people are going to say it's woke because there are femboys in this. It, and it's going to be so frustrating to deal with this. And by the way, this is coming out in July, which is the same month, around the same time. Like I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago now, or almost 3 years ago, when New Panty with Stocking and Garter Belt was announced at Anime Expo. So if you're wondering why July, that's probably has something to do with it.
They do kind of look like K-pop idols.
That's what someone else said too. Someone else said they look like K-pop idols.
Maybe that's what the angle is they're trying to they're taking a shot at K-pop. They actually they look like those BTS guys. One of them's got pink hair, another one's got purple. Remember those BTS guys? They color their hair all the time. So they are just K-pop boys.
They're going after the K-pop stans. They're going after the Fujoshis. This was such a genius thing to do by Trigger. This was.
Yeah. And they're villains. This is the problem, is that you're going to get guys like Trent and John De La Rose that want to run this down and cause problems with it, but they're villains. They're not heroes. And if they go through a redemption arc, quite obviously their behavior is going to change. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't care about context and nuance on this kind of stuff because you can look at this stuff and know immediately what the intent is. These are bad guys. They're going to cause trouble. So they're obviously going to have a divergent lifestyle. Duh.
I mean, they were booted out of heaven for a reason.
Again, this would be something that should be celebrated by these two, but it won't be. It'll be like they're trying to brainwash everybody, even though these guys got kicked out of heaven for their behavior, most likely for how they dress too. And they're also making fun of K-poppers, which again, most masculine men of the West don't like. I mean, it's not for me, but most of the guys treat it as like, this is brainwashing boys into being effeminate and that kind of stuff with the K-pop. So this is attacking K-pop. What more could you ask for, honestly? In an anime about two girls named Panty and Stocking, this is quite literally a message of, don't fool around, boys. Especially if they're named after condoms. Come on. Like, how much can we get?
Yeah.
How much further can we get into straighten up, boys? Stop acting like these two. It's a great message. What do you want? You know, what do you want? It's so difficult to try and please this kind of attitude now because like the cultural purity thing has just peaked so hard. Yeah. But we do have good news. We do have the Kaiju number 8 movie coming out also.
That's in April. Yeah.
Season 2, rather. Excuse me.
Yeah, season 2 is in July. And next month for 3 days, and probably only 1 or 2 showings per day, knowing how Crunchyroll is now. But yeah, Hoshino's Day Off will be in theaters, and that's basically a compilation film. But this, though, like what got people super excited is that we get to see the captain of the first unit, which is Japan's Defense Force's strongest unit, Gen Narumi. I love him. That is Gen right there. He is amazing. And
right. The little dorky guy?
Yep, that's Gen.
Okay.
And when you see more of him, you'll see he's very, very badass too. He's a gamer. And basically this is set after the events of season 1, where you had Kafka reveal his identity as Kaiju number 8. He went through the test. I believe he went through the test with Commander Shinomiya as well in season 1. I could be wrong. And after that, Commander Shinomiya decided that Kafka's got to be suspended from the Corps until he gets his shit under control, because he went berserk. So, and now he's serving.
Not that kind of berserk, the crazy kind, not the
crazy kind of berserk.
Not the demon fighter with the big sword, not that one.
No. And yeah, so him and Kikoro are joining the first unit to get more experience and train under Gen, and that's my boy. And Gen has he has monster number 1's eyes.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Now see, I like this character design. Yeah, he's fun. He's fun. And again, like, this is what matters now. We're running into this right now with Avengers Doomsday. You know, everybody's going to be strapped up in leather and tactical belts all over the place. It's not even going to be the fun kind of Final Fantasy tactical belts.
Yeah.
And it's just, all the costumes are going to be dark colored, and it's going to be very boring looking. And then you've got this stuff that's like, hey, how do you like guy with hot pink railgun? You know? How do you like that? And people are like, oh yeah, I like that. It's pretty cool. That's neat. That's different. Meanwhile, the Avengers are like, hey, leather cat suit. But not the kind that you'll like, because we can't objectify women. So cat suit. Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to make sure that Chris Evans gets like the obligatory Fast and the Furious butt shot. Because it's just been years and years and years of that's America's ass memes.
Yeah.
And they're going to do that. Whereas this over here is like, yeah, this pink guy, not gay. Still pretty cool, though. Still pretty easygoing, but not gay. What do you know? And MCU can't do that. They got to do like a Captain America's butt joke. Can't do it. It's amazing. Why are we losing the entertainment war?
You get butt jokes here too, and there, here and there in Kaiju number 8. You do.
So, Leslie Tarkin, one of the things that anime suffers from is that things are derivative. So when something works, they build on it so much that it becomes a dead horse very quickly. However, this also is like one of those catch-22s. So while you have a lot of characters who look alike, particularly female characters, as we were talking about earlier with the Gundam protagonists, you end up with characters who look a lot alike. When it comes to the male protagonists, they really lean into a certain type of hero face. Like, you know the good guy, and you know who's going to be the foil. You know who the guy that's going to betray everybody is. You can always see that in the face. And sometimes when you catch it later on, you go, oh, duh, that guy's got the face that does that. And this is why you find it so pleasing, is because it rewards your expectations, but it doesn't clue you in immediately to all of it. And that's, again, because they've taken so much time to study what worked and what didn't and distilled it down into more and more ideas. Anime's only been around since what, the 50s?
Yeah, I think it's like the 50s or, yeah, late 50s, early 60s-ish, I think.
As what we define as like anime, you know? And so that, again, has built up over time. Whereas over here in the West, we're like, oh, we can't do what Pixar did. We got to reinvent everything. We got to make sure that Shrek has a weird new visual update because, God forbid, he looks like he's a low-res early 2000s character, which made it more charming. Can't have those sharp edges anymore. It might scare the kids. And this is why it's 60s is when the anime got started. So this is why it works for them so well, is that they built on the success of it, whereas we keep challenging the success of things here in the West. And you gotta stop thinking like that. It's like how we got monster trucks. We didn't get monster trucks because one guy stood up and he was like, I'm gonna make this machine that does all of this at once. We got this because a bunch of guys down south were like, I want to put big wheels on my truck and drive through some mud. And it just kept building and building. Well, I'm going to put big wheels on my truck, but I'm going to drive it over cars. Well, I'm going to put big wheels on my truck, but I'm going to make sure the back wheels turn so I can do sick turns in the middle of jumping over these cars. And ta-da, we have a sport. Just that's how we ended up with anime having such a pleasing aesthetic in just about every representation out there right now, because they sat down and said, jumping over cars works.
Well, I will say this, though, in defense of challenging, sometimes it's good to challenge what's already been out there, because then you could also build upon it and create something new that challenges the status quo.
Yeah, the first animation, that's what I mean, is that as we understand anime started after World War II. Before that, they were experimenting with different animation styles, but leading up to that, Astro Boy was the first from what we would arguably sit down and say that's anime, the early anime. I think Tetsujin, we know it as Gigantor, was right there on the heels of Astro Boy too.
Yeah, it was around the same time as Astro Boy, and I remember this was back when Cartoon Network was still awesome, and I had to get up like really early in the morning to go to marching band practice. I know. I remember early in the morning they would have Gigantor showing, and I think if I remember correctly, they might have had Astro Boy too, but I know they had like 2 episodes of Gigantor at least.
Yep, sci-fi in the morning, before a school bus, you would see the 80s Gigantor, the one that had the big 28 on his shoulder and looked more like a knight.
This was black and white. This was black and white Gigantor.
The early Tetsujin, yep, the early one. And then apparently there was like a 90s one where he got like all bulked up, where they got like really knight bulked up, and then they decided not to do that anymore. But oh well. That 60s bubble robot look is pretty neat still. That hasn't gone out of style, in my opinion, at least. So we do have some more good news coming down the line, though. I want to make sure we clarify. Leslie, I'm not saying that you said they look alike. I'm just trying to explain why they're aesthetically pleasing, is because they built on what works. And that's why a lot of anime does look alike, which, again, it suffers from sometimes. But it looks very pleasing because they built on what works rather than trying to challenge it.
Well, not just that, is that like minus like certain studios like JC staff, they spend a lot of time on it too. It's like some studios will do 1 to 2 anime a year. Some will only do 1 anime a year, but then and those are usually some of the best. Then you get crap like from JC staff where they're trying to put 8 to 10 anime out a year. And that's why it looks so stiff. That's why the character designs, especially if you're watching anime adaptations of content, why they're so lackluster and they don't even look like themselves.
Bigger than big, tougher than tough. Gigantor. That stuck in my head forever, especially the bongos. Like, I don't understand. Like, they saw the giant robot and they were like, bongos. And he said, what? I'll never understand when the American adapters doing the American theme song for Gigantor. The original theme song had like a bongo solo in it. I never understood why. Like, they saw a giant robot, bongos. That's great. I don't know. Cocaine's a hell of a drug, I guess. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Well, speaking of robots and stuff like that, there is the Tojiba Tanzaburo Wants to Be a Kamen Rider anime coming out. I tried finding chapters to take a look at to see if I would like it or not. But of course, no one has fan translator wise, they have not translated it. So we're stuck. For those of us that can't read Japanese, we can only look forward to the anime. We really can't read the manga. Really stinks.
Yeah, and so if you don't know, there is let me just try and isolate a area. That's a good one. I don't. This one is one of the ones that I'm pretty sure will get struck for showing the whole trailer to, because this one is pretty highly anticipated. So the story about this one's pretty simple. Is a young kid is very inspired by Kamen Rider. He pursues it through most of his life in a very passionate way, otaku, if you will. And as an adult, he's frustrated with the lack of action by police, the lack of action by his community to take care of people who are being bothered by criminals. Maybe not Yakuza, but just people who aren't so down with peace. And so this guy decides to embrace what he understands about Kamen Rider and become a real-life Kamen Rider. It begins with him wearing a party mask and evolves over time. It doesn't get too crazy. It doesn't get into the territory where he's like, I got Iron Man armor and doing this crazy shit. And I think it's good. It's a good time for it. Japan's in a very different position than it was even a year ago. And I think this anime showing regular people defending themselves against ne'er-do-wells, regular people taking justice into their own hands, might not be so bad. When you've got Johnny Somalis and all of these tourists destroying shrines running around, maybe punching some dude in the face in Minecraft might not rider punching, if you will. Rider punching some dude in the face in Minecraft for being a complete douchebag at a shrine might not be so bad. It certainly taught Johnny Somali a lesson when he caught 2 Korean feet to the chest at 25 miles an hour. So he thought twice about causing trouble in Korea again after that.
No, he still caused trouble anyway and went back to jail.
Super jail at this point.
They made a anime about Spencer and his love for Kamen Rider. It was a manga first.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out how to do that with the anime. With the AI, the anime AI, see if I can transpose an anime-ified Spencer into this anime and recast the lead character. But yeah, they've changed that lately. They have a couple of them that have new bikes, and I guess the next one that's coming out, Zets, whatever. It's a bunch of Z's. That one is going to be like one of those specials that tours the Kamen Rider mythos. So my guess is that one's going to be very bike heavy. And you're right, there's not much rider about it anymore. It should be like Kamen Kicker. That's the only thing that seems to be still going on with the Kamen Rider franchise from the beginning is they kick. And it looks cool. So yeah, an anime about Spencer. Kamen Rider, Spencer's ears must be burning. I assume he's working on an article right now, so perhaps it is about this. But yep, we're looking forward to this one coming out. It's going to be a good time. I don't know what the theme song is going to be like when we get to see it with the intro animations and stuff, but I have a feeling that it's going to be pretty awe-inspiring. Because again, like it looks
so cute, doesn't it? Like,
Well, it tells the story of like the guy that really took to heart the story of Kamen Rider, and it's hard not to, really, when you're a young guy, and even as an adult, you kind of like try to reflect on some of the messages that came through that stuff. So, being Japanese, I can only imagine even more influence is exerted through that because you have much stronger cultural connections to Kamen Rider. Whereas people in the West, like Spencer and I, we might miss very subtle things that aren't, clued into us. We're not 9 to 5 day-to-day Japanese. We're just American guys that have a very deep interest in this particular genre. So, like I said, I think it's well timed. This is a time period when young Japanese men need to be emboldened to defend themselves, to stand up for themselves, to say, "Hey,
especially
no, I
with
don't
all
wanna
the
do that."
Kurds, especially with all the Turks over there and the Kurds and whatnot. Yeah, they need something like this.
Yeah, and it's cheesy, but again, this is how you reach young Japanese men. Much like American men, they are infantilized, and they are. And it's just globally, it's what happened. The boomers decided they didn't want their kids to ever grow up, and we didn't. So here we are. And so this story is like reaching out to that middle 30s guy like me, like Spencer, like Jacob, like most of the audience here. Maybe you guys are a little older, a little younger, but it reaches out and it says, "Hey man, you know the basics. Just because you don't have a rider belt and a neat 30-foot dive kick doesn't mean that you can't stand up for yourself, that you can't protect your community from people like Johnny Somali." So, and I honestly hope there's an episode where this character has to confront an obnoxious streamer. I really do. I really hope. And I hope there's some kind of sex pest in here too to underline just how, again, like the sex tourism in Japan's through the roof too. So I absolutely hope that this jumps in on that one and gets a piece of like kicking the ass of people exploiting that. Definitely want to see those guys getting punched in the face. But if you're not down for a Kamen Rider beating the hell, a guy who wants to be a Kamen Rider beating the hell out of his neighbors, you have this one right here. This is the MLB anime, not like a full-blown 50-episode season. I think this is mainly just showcasing the MLB's roster, if you will.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like they got people that were working on One Piece and Fullmetal Alchemist on this. And the moment I saw this, I'm like, okay, stop the fuckery. We need a Bungo anime. We do. If you've not read Bungo, it is probably one of the best if not the best baseball series I have read. Diamond Oasis is good, but mangaka Terajima had some problems. But here though with Bungo, the mangaka shows you how their artistic process, and they like do like some really old school stuff. They're at like hand drawing, they're doing like extra layers with shading on there, and it just looks incredible. But yeah, this looks really good. And like a couple of the players they showed off was Aaron Judge and Juan DeSoto. And they play obviously on the Yankees and the Mets. And on my dad's side of the family, my uncle is a Yankees fan, a longtime Yankees fan, and my dad is like a hardcore Mets fan. So like as soon as I saw this, I was just like, oh my God, they probably I gotta send it to them still. They probably will like it.
Well, again, like this is another way that anime is reaching out to an unexpected audience. Meanwhile, we're producing another Avengers movie.
Unfortunately, some of that unexpected audience is, if you see, I post some of the stuff from the anime Reddit. These people cannot tell fiction from reality. They are hating lollies, saying lollies are straight up children, which they're not. And there's obviously such thing as a short person in Japan. So it's just like these people are just bonkers. And then there's some people that are like saying they don't like the shonen tropes. Like I saw one person say they don't like when the head skip, when they have over exaggerated features and for like comedic timing purposes. And I'm just like, dude, did you go back to Looney Tunes? I'm like, dude, did you not watch like Looney Tunes? Did you not watch any obviously Tiny Toons and Looney Tunes, but like, or Tom and Jerry? Did you not watch Roger Rabbit? And it's just like, yeah, these people got no clue.
Nope, not a bit. And then I don't have intentions to start smartening up either. That's the other part of this. That so again, like it's a baseball anime. It's gonna be fun. I don't know how long it'll run. I'm not sure what the episode run is. If it even has episodes, if it's just going to be a series of shorts that highlight some crazy anime-ified baseball action or not. I'll have to wait and find out. Timon asks, no skateboard anime? I don't remember
There
any.
is. There is called. I'm trying to remember what it's called off the top of my head. But
No, Air Gear is rollerblades. That's right. That's different.
I thought there was another one that was straight up skateboarding, but was it? I think it was Skate Infinity, or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, I mean that's another one that we can probably look forward to. Because again, I mean, like the Japanese tend not to leave too many things about life unanimeified. So
it's very true.
Ravul Arvita says here, Chibi reviews posting characters from a hentai is blowing up on X.
Again, like poor Chibi. I feel bad for him. I do. I mean, they have people blackwash his profile picture, which was drawn and given to him by someone else.
Now, why is he posting hentai?
Oh, he's trying. That's totally rage bait. That's
okay.
What it pretty much is. It's rage bait. That's what Chibi has been doing a lot lately. Has been doing rage bait posts.
All right. Well, that makes sense. We do have an up. What?
He's just trying to trigger people that are hating on him and sending him death threats and stuff like that.
It works.
It's probably not going to help.
We do have ReZero.
ReZero. Yeah, ReZero. It just ended today, and season 4 is officially confirmed. We don't have a release date for it, obviously, because they're going to take their sweet time animating it. But yeah, season 4 is definitely in the works.
Okay, well, I mean that I don't know much about our ReZero. It's been going on for quite a while now. It's like almost 10 years. This one's been going.
I think so. I mean,
yeah.
The light novels are really good, and I was covering the manga for a minute, but I stopped. I don't remember why, but yeah, ReZero is very, very interesting.
Well, if it looks fantasy driven, so if that's kind of your angle, good news. There's more to come. Yep. And we're waiting on Jacob to arrive. If you're wondering why we're slowing down a little bit here, it's because we're waiting for Jacob to arrive. He's on his way in, driving in from work. He's a nice fellow like that. To talk about Digimon, because we've got updates about Digimon left and right here. But in the meantime,
also in terms of like anime that people are excited for, My Dress Up Darling season 2 has an official release date, and it's going to be in July. It's kind of surprising it's going to be in July. But this is like hot off the heels of the end of the manga, which, God, the manga's ending is very frustrating. But in terms of that, here's my theory on My Dress Up Darling's manga ending. I think there was probably like a clash between the mangaka Fukuda and what Square Enix wanted. Because Fukuda wanted to do something like 2.5D Seduction, which was like cosplay first with romance on the side. And I don't think Square Enix was down with that.
Yeah.
And I think like Fukuda was already going through like a lot of stress and some health problems too. And I think, and this is based off of like what I've seen in some of the final chapters, is that Fukuda was just totally over it at that point. But there is good news though. There is a side story and more epilogue chapters coming out. I don't know when they are, but at least they're happening. And God, this season is going to be very interesting because if you are a My Dress Up Darling reader, you know about Amane, who is a cross-dressing character. And yeah, certain people are going to try and claim that he's trans. He's not.
The Japanese are going to break the trans community. Just bit by bit, they're going to break them because they're going to try so hard, and eventually, like, you see how they blow up when Oda comes out and explains, no, Yamato for the 100,000th time is not a man.
Oh, people are still bitching about that and still
amazing.
complaining about Yamato being trans and attacking the fan base for believing that not believing Yamato's trans. It's like, dude, Oda made it clear. And also the manga makes it clear. Yamato is just a LARPer. That's all Yamato is.
It's not only that, but like Yamato's whole backstory is abuse. That's what led that person to going through that. So it's not even something you want to claim, you know, like, oh yes, this heavily abused person is why, you know, one of ours. And that again, like this is what they'll do to this person, you know, and
They'll do to Amane. Yeah. Amane is everything. I love him so much. He is an amazing trap character, especially like near the end of the series. He was I think it was an editor for a manga magazine. He fell in love with Amane's pictures, and then Amane told him that he was a guy.
Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah,
we do have Spencer here, back from the edge of oblivion.
I'm back. Spencer. How's it going, you cool, crazy kids? What are we all talking about tonight?
Well, you missed the Kamen Rider anime.
Oh, I'm so excited for that one. That's such a fun premise, and I'm stoked it's getting an adaptation. It should be fun.
We already talked about Panty and Stocking, which you missed that too. I mean, they're really good characters.
At this point, I just need that to come out. I have been waiting since 2008 or whatever it was when the last season ended. I just need that thing to drop already.
Well, it's coming out in July. So
I know, but that's what I'm saying is like at this point, I don't really care about what news comes out. It's like, just give it to me. Just let me watch it.
Well, we're happy to have you. Leslie Tarkin's here saying hello. Welcome aboard. Yeah, Yamato is the best. I'm sorry.
I love her.
The Nami stands can jog on. Sorry.
Well, speaking of that,
tall Oni girl.
Well, speaking of that, One Piece is coming back this next week. And there's going to be 2 days of One Piece. It's a special weekend. So the first day is going to be on April 5th, and it's going to have a recap of Egghead so far that's been adapted, and then right after that you get the season premiere for Egghead Island Part 2, and then the next day One Piece episode 2 or episode 1124, 1124, which is the second episode in the arc, is premiering, and it's going to be on the new late night slot that One Piece has. So there is that. And then leading up to it, there's a 5-episode anime adaptation of the official One Piece gag series called One Piece in Love. And that one's by the mangaka of Protect Me Shigemaru and Yokai Buster Murakami. I love Daiki's work. Not a lot of people get that humor, the meta humor, but I love it. But yeah, it's basically about 3 characters in high school with the same name as the Straw Hats. Their designs are, especially for the one based on Ubisoft, is so different. He's like a huge nerd, and he's like a One Piece LARPer too. So he's trying to like bring One Piece into everything, and it's amazing. This manga is really good. But yeah, the cool thing with this one though is that the episodes are going to be available on the One Piece YouTube channel, their Instagram, and their TikTok. So they've
done anime on TikTok, haven't? Or no, that was Kaiju number 8 was like Twitter exclusive, which was weird.
For the initial simulcast, it was Twitter exclusive to Crunchyroll.
Has anybody done like a TikTok anime? I'm sure there have, but I'm going to turn it over to you. I don't know.
I'm not sure if there's like a full-blown TikTok anime. I know that they share clips and stuff like that, and that's how a lot of people are getting into anime now, is from TikTok.
But I mean, like, has there ever been a series yet that has like aired on TikTok?
Oh, no, not that I know of.
So this will be like the first one. I mean, One Piece would be the one to lead the charge, I guess.
One Piece is leading the charge on everything. I mean, they're getting collabs with different baseball teams and football teams now. It's just,
man, that soccer collab with like Dortmund, I don't know. It's so goofy, but it's so cool. Like they have all this like One Piece merch with all of the players wearing like the jerseys. You can even go learn like a a demo of the One Piece card game and get a special leader card that is Luffy in the jersey. And the coolest thing, Nerdigans, I think you'll like this, is oftentimes with these sort of events, it's like a one-day thing, right? Like Nintendo is hosting a special preview event. Go to your Best Buy on Saturday, and that'll be the only time. And so everybody has to like fight and flood in, and it's kind of generally a miserable time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you get to play a game or buy whatever merch, but it's like, there can be a better way. And this is the better way. I learned that for the Dortmund collaboration, it's like a full week. Like the stadium is open for the week. Like while the games are going on, you can just go in and learn it. No like limited things. And I'm like, there we go. That's what I like to see, even though I obviously won't get one because I don't live in the worst country in the world. But I still think it's really cool.
But yeah, there was another soccer collab with me and Robico this past week. That chapter was so funny. Yeah.
Who'd they collab with?
I'm trying to remember. Let me pull up the chapter here.
I love this new outreach of collabs because, like, how do I put this? When you think of, like, you know, if there was a Japanese baseball team or a soccer team or whatever that did a collab with One Piece or Dragon Ball or whomever, you would go, that makes sense. Just sort of like it would make sense if one of our teams did a collab with like the Looney Tunes or Batman or whatever. But it's so funny seeing like older boomer crowds who are still watching sports trying to process what they're seeing with some of these collabs. The Guara crossover collab from last year with the Dodgers.
It's a crossover.
Crossover works.
It's canon.
Yeah, I would say so. This is our Avengers Doomsday. But there are so many videos of people who are like, what the hell is this? Like, what am I looking at? And then like right next to them, there's a bunch of kids going like, yeah. And I know, Cider, that Doomsday stuff is just.
We'll get into it.
Oh, here it is. It's Frontail. It was it was Frontail is the team's name.
I have no idea who that is. Then again, like European, is that a European team or is
no?
that
It's J-League.
Okay, yeah. See, I don't know any Japanese soccer teams. I know I don't even know, they're not technically a team. I know the kids from Blue Lock, but that's all, they're all on the same team.
So there's that, and there's Captain Tsubasa as well, and there's also what's the other one? There is Aoashi. That's good too. But
yeah. But so Ravul brings up a fun suggestion: HoloLive mascots for every MLB and NFL team. And honestly, I think this is a really smart way to do this. I think these sports leagues are trying really hard to appeal to younger kids. I know we've all seen, or most of us have probably seen over the years, like the NFL always does a game or two a year where they like host it on Nickelodeon and there's a bunch of special effects and everything. And it's like,
those are fun to watch. I'm not going to lie.
No, they are absolutely fun to watch. I'm not talking smack on them, but what I am saying is that it's sort of an outdated like focus of their attention, right? They're still going, what do we do? Let's get them into cartoons. When if you introduced like tomorrow, what's the worst team, Nerdigans? The Chicago Bears. If the Chicago Bears tomorrow got like a HoloLive mascot who did some like promo material on their Instagram or whatever, or just even like streamed Madden, but was that official mascot like V2, that would blow things up. It would change everything.
So the weird thing is I kept thinking about this kind of thing with the NASCAR racers. Do you remember that weird cartoon from the beginning of the?
Just did right when you said that. Totally.
They're kind of already visually set up to be VTubers. Like their art style is already 3D, 2D, cell shaded kind of stuff. That Dragon Ball Z Budokai style art style, and that would benefit it very greatly if NASCAR had a VTuber sportscaster down in the corner that was just doing that.
I don't even watch VTubers. I think I would watch a VTuber covering sports. I think that's just like the novelty is there. There's so much crossover potential, and it would having making a VTuber or whatever. I don't know what process you want to go through it. We don't have Ryan here, who is Bounding's resident VTuber expert, but that would get you way more benefit than a collab with, I don't know, a with Xbox or whatever nowadays, right? This is why you need to hire at least, you need to either hire for every company, you need to hire at least like 2 guys whose job it is just to be like young sort of slackers, you know, they're online all day, so that you can get these good ideas and you can run by them like when you're about to have an awful marketing decision. I'll bring it back up when Jacob gets here, but if anybody out there saw the new minor league team for, I believe it was Seattle, they debuted their logo, they're themed off of clams. You can kind of see where it went from there. Trust me, it's pretty bad, but you need like just 2 of those guys. Even if one of them is like the CEO's son, right? Complete like slacker, never going to amount to anything. Just get him in there to save you guys a couple $2 billion.
But something I just remember too, when I was growing up, the A's actually collabed, and this is in Oakland, mind you, they collabed with Street Fighter. I think they did like a couple of times. Yeah, I still have the shirt somewhere around here. But yeah,
that's so crazy.
Spencer, you remember that?
I genuinely didn't know that.
You remember that battle basketball intro I was trying to create there? It ended up becoming part of the Channel Surfer one. So walk that back into a Final Fantasy themed and basketball player VTuber. And there's like 2 of them on screen, and they're just battled up. They're not wearing like jerseys. They're battled up. They got their armor. They got like basketball themed weaponry. And they're just hanging out sportscasting.
Basketball themed weaponry.
Like the NFL robot.
Marvel must be writing this, right?
Yeah.
I guess your fighter is Miles Morales with your basketball themed weaponry.
I think the NFL robot would be hilarious to bring back as a VTuber and have him alongside the other sportscasters right there.
That would be so sick.
I legitimately was talking with my brother-in-law the other day, and we were like, we're at the point where if there is now a market where if you went and you said, we're making a like Figu Arts, whatever, of that NFL robot, people are going to want it. Like our generation is in that point. Like I would want one. And
guys,
that thing was cool.
Guys, he's in Hatsune Miku colors. We can do this.
Oh my God.
We can do this. We can do this.
Oh my God. Come on.
It's in Hatsune Miku colors. We can do this,
throw
guys.
some pigtails on that man.
We can do this.
That's incredible.
This is the time for Band Presto to be like, okay, let's put out a model kit of the NFL robot.
Yep.
Why not? There are so many weird model kits of things, like even ignoring things like you can get model kits of like a 7-Eleven or food or whatever. Like there's so many random toy models that exist out there that why not? Why the heck not?
Oh my God. I just remember this. I think it was on Sunday or like over the past weekend. Did you see the Mia Roboco live action commercial with the Fanta and everything? That shit was great.
No, I didn't. I totally forgot that was even happening.
It was so good. It made me want a Fanta really bad. I'm not gonna lie.
I miss this robot. Like it was so, I don't know. Like I remember being a kid. I wasn't really into sports when I was younger, but I would see the robot and I'm like, that's cool. It's a freaking like giant robot. Chicks dig giant robots. So yeah, I want to bring him back.
So I've been told.
Do something with him. Remember back in the day, Cider, when they used to make like Pepsi Man and other mascot games? I would be up for a really cheap NFL Blitz clone or something of the Fox robot. I don't know. Then you could get like Robo Brady or something. I don't know how you would flesh out the roster, but might be cool.
I think you could just keep it with the 3D VTuber effects and just have that robot off to the side making like quippy commentary with the other sportscasters. And you remember how they like green screened that VTuber into the Korean esports event?
Yep.
They could just do that with the robot. And then they just, when he's speaking, you just have somebody shaking like a green screen pole, right? For the other people in the room to turn and look and be like, okay, this is what is talking right now.
Oh,
so they
Cider,
have like the puppets.
You are offering the other sportscasters and stuff way more dignity than these studios actually give them. You know, there's no audio cue. There's just going to be like a big cue, like what do you call it? The cards or whatever that just says like look to your left and
robot is talking.
Yeah, exactly. No, like not even a tennis ball or anything. Like you just have to look into the distance for 30 seconds and contemplate how you got to like Ian McKellen, right? Like when he
Ooh.
was filming The Hobbit, just like, oh my God, I was supposed to be covering sports and now I'm talking to a robot.
Now he's going to do Doomsday. But speaking of Doomsday, we do have
man.
Jacob here. And Jacob,
Hey!
do you remember the NFL robot?
Did they get rid of the NFL robot? Like,
Oh, here it is.
As far
They
as
got
I
rid of him like
know.
a while ago.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been so long, I haven't even paid any attention. I thought it was just still there.
Oh, well, it would have been a thing. They would have had it take a knee by now, and they would have painted it up with all those dashiki colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are Robo Umar. Is that what it's gonna be now?
Dude, yeah, where's our skins for our Fox robot? Can I DLC my African pride
Oh
for my Black
God,
History Month?
Spencer.
Yeah,
No.
Jacob. So this is what I mentioned a second ago, everybody.
Oh my God.
Like
Someone hated this team.
That is what they're. So it's the Boston or the Baltimore Oyster Catchers. They're the Orioles minor league team, and they just straight up. This is what I mean, guys. You need to have somebody in there going, sir,
in there. You bet.
Right? Exactly. Like, sir, I can get fired right now if I try to describe what is on the screen. And
I have seen this before from this particular angle, sir.
There's like two guys in the back. Oh, I've seen it too. Yeah, I've seen so many of them.
Why is this logo so familiar, guys? We got to Google this. Run it through an image search. This has got to be a logo. I've seen
Why am
this
I staring
before.
at a picture of your mom?
Okay, so before I forget, this is why I wanted Fanta. So the Roboco video I just put in the chat, it's for the Fanta collaboration with me and Roboco, which is just so freaking appropriate, and it's amazing.
Awesome. I've been here for
Is that
5
it?
seconds, and I want to throw a ball at you right now.
I really hope that this merch like stays. I'm gonna go buy one. This is my new team.
It's like someone's gonna get who everyone should be fired. The person who hired this person needs to be fired. Like you can't just get rid of like one person. Like there's a chain of events that happened before this left the ether. It's just
That's what we talk about all the time, right? Is like these decisions, whether it's a bad movie choice or a logo choice, they have to be approved by multiple people. This doesn't just like oopsies, one guy got it out there. Like people looked at it, the printers had to look at it, the like lawyers had to look at it, the copyright people had to look at it when they got the filing. And nobody was like, guys, hello? Anybody?
That guy should have been tossed out of the building.
No, you know a non-binary design.
He should have been tossed out of the building into the trash can like Norm Macdonald in Dirty Work, just straight into the garbage.
I don't know. To be fair, this is like the most exciting thing to happen in baseball in a long time.
So I have to, here's the
you mean besides the Dodgers buying half the world?
I'm so mad. I hate it so much, man.
So here's the thing. I took 3 years of graphic design in high school, and I took it pretty seriously. I won awards, things like that. We
can
at it.
We can tell.
Yeah, and when I look at this, I just don't understand the design logic. Yes, it looks like a vagina. That's very simple.
Right.
I don't understand the design logic because at no point does your eye know where to go. It's almost deliberately trying to tell you this is a vagina, and they deliberately set out to do that. And made no attempt to get away from it.
No attempt. Like every element of this logo reinforces that that's what it is. Like it's literally you go, look at the baseball being highlighted. That's the you know what? Then it's like, oh, look at the shell. That's now it looks like the full thing. And then you go, well, at least it's on a mitt. And that's like, what about like a mitten, which is what an old slang term used to be. If you used to listen to Bloodhound Gang, you'll remember that. So it's just like this is the V logo. This is your VTuber.
This feels like someone was trying to get fired and then was surprised at how it didn't work. It was like,
this is perfect.
It's like I'll be gone tomorrow. I'm out of here. Then they get called back. It's like, we got a new logo. We love it. We're going with it. It's like, wait,
hell yeah! This was like a 22-year-old. He's like, I'm leaving. Like he knew he was gonna get fired. He's like, I'm ditching out work to go to Vegas with my friends. Screw it. Here's your thing. And then he got that call like Monday morning. Like you're promoted. You're a genius.
And then you know what it is? It's like it was like the last remark they gave him. It's like, wow, this has been your best work in years. And he started getting like offended. It's like now he's looking at like, all the times he's actually tried. It's like, this is the one that won people over.
It's always how it is. That's probably how we got like most of the Marvel scripts. It was like that was just the one that Kevin was on the top of the pile, and Kevin went, "Oh, okay, I'll go with that one."
This sounds great. Yeah, thanks.
And it's so imagine they get a VTuber contract, okay, and a VTuber has to come out here and like perform something next to that, right? Has to have that next to them. See, the thing is that when I try to think of a design for the oyster catchers, right? I am not going to depict an oyster.
An oyster. I'm
not going to do
clam,
that,
right? Like
I am going to depict
whatever it is.
I'm going to depict
the mollusk
pearl. I'm going to depict the pearl, right? And the pearl is going to have the name of the team or the OC inside of it.
Yeah,
right? And that's it. That's the logo. It's a white ball with OC inside of it. That's it.
And maybe you put like a whoosh on it, right? Like if they wanted like that dynamic like logo or whatever.
Yeah, we're not going to do the oyster shape because there's no way to capture the oyster shape in anything that is distinguishable to the human eye that isn't immediately exposed to that every day. A ball is a ball. A cube is a cube. But when you throw, we got Kenneth Domingo here asking,
hey,
Kenneth, is that an ear? And you're right. When you look at it again, it looks like an ear with a baseball inside of it too.
Yes, actually, I can see that now.
And so you got some
going.
reference to Mike Tyson here. And so this is why the human eye can distinguish that catcher's mitt. But you don't want to put the white ball in the middle of that because it's just a baseball. Just leave the white ball by itself, put the OC inside of it for oyster catchers, and there you go.
And
simple.
boom.
Two color print, very cheap t-shirts to make. You're fine. Nobody thinks you have a vagina for a logo.
Unfortunately, here we are. But no, that was my like first takeaway too, is like this is way too, or after I laughed at like a 13-year-old boy, I went, this is way too like overcomplicated of a logo. If you have to like sit there and like analyze a logo and go like, what are all these rigid? Oh, it's an oyster. That's not a good logo, guys. Like that's not a good logo. I see so many billboards when I'm driving on the highway that are like, they have like big paragraphs of text that are like this small and you're supposed to read. I'm like, I don't know I drive by them every day, but I have no idea what you do because I'm not dedicating the brain power to sit there and go, let me get that billboard, right? But I can tell you Circle K right now has deals on these drinks I like because it's a 2-image graphic that they throw up on those billboards.
Yeah, the Y2K design aesthetic was brought up recently, and I forget who was talking about it. I think it was Soup, and he's just a gamer.
Yeah.
YouTuber.
I mean, we did talk about it like a month ago when we were when I asked Jacob about the Rachel Zegler movie.
But it's the Y2K aesthetic that was like my first Photoshop. Do you remember this where they would just like take out like they would cut out a picture of the Incredible Hulk out of the poster, and then they would put it in front of like just a picture of Mountain Dew, like CGI Mountain Dew water, like green water. And then the Mountain Dew would be on top of it. And then this big, bold, dark green font with a heavy white border around it was going to say Hulk Blast Mountain Dew. And that was it. That was the whole advertisement. It was just like green, 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 green. And then that's your brain immediately was like Mountain Dew, Hulk, Mountain Dew, Hulk, Mountain Dew. And that was it because it's all I had to look at. Now they're just like, we got to do all this flat design so you feel like globo homo, comfortable, oblong human, so you don't feel, like
no personality. You're all like flat. Yeah.
Flat design. Whereas before it was like, here's Giga Hulk and he's flexing, and inside of his muscles are Photoshop diehard batteries. And that's how we're gonna advertise diehard batteries for 6 months.
That reminds me of like. This is like not so okay for Brave New World when they were like pressed or starting the advertising campaign for that. Marvel was doing they'll put up a short on their YouTube channel, or they'll put up a behind the scenes or all that stuff. Just random excitement videos. I mean, that's what they were for. Don't know if they were successful, but at one point they uploaded like a commercial for home insurance. to their like that Anthony Mackie was in, and it was Brave New World themed, and they uploaded that to the like official Marvel YouTube, which was like, okay, yeah, of course all of these productions are going to, you know, do advertising, but to so closely link, like you're saying, like, we are Marvel, this is an official ad we are putting out for our, it was just so bizarre, especially when they're like, oh, again, you know, like the neoliberal, like, oh, capitalism bad, all of this money, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, here's home insurance on Captain Anthony Mackie. And it was just, it's a weird, it's a weird
This
sentiment.
is what I'm talking about. This is early 2000s Mountain Dew advertisement art. And this is
yes, Raboul.
Your brain can't like process anything other than Mountain Dew, green, Mountain Dew, green. That's all.
And
That's
like
all your brain knows.
Mountain Dew, green, and then electricity. That right there, boom, boom, boom. You know, like Mountain Dew, sugary, caffeine. That was what it was. So, boom, easy, instantaneous, like recognition.
Oh my god! I just read. Oh, dude, my nostalgia like boner just got kicked. Like, oh my gosh! Do you remember the dragon print Mountain Dews, the green label art Mountain Dews?
No,
oh my gosh, I
print?
wanted these. Yeah, they had like these elaborate Japanese tigers, dragons, fish, like this ye olde Japanese art
That's
printed on this stuff.
awesome.
It was like 2003, 2004 that they did this. It was like it was along with the Star Wars Pepsi cans.
It's interesting that they did like, and this is a compliment, that they did like Japanese tattoo style art instead of just going for the ukiyo-e, I don't know how to pronounce it, but like the wood block style that everybody just goes to by default. Like that shows thought, guys, as opposed to anything out of Shadows, right? They didn't go for the easy choice, if you will.
Now, speaking of not going for the easy choice, we do have an update about Digimon.
What do we got, Nerdigans?
I was going to talk about Pepsi Blue.
So basically, these
Pepsi Blue. Oh my God, Pepsi Blue was so damn good.
So basically, what this is, these are the protagonists for the upcoming Digimon game, and something that Time Stranger is doing that modern Pokemon is not, is we're getting an actual waifu character wearing a skirt.
Hello.
Which is really nice. Say
Yep.
hi, Katie.
We get Yuki, and she's a time agent from Adamas, and she's caught in a mysterious explosion and sent back in time 8 years because the digital world is now a time gateway. Why not?
And something else that's cool
literally
about
why
this-
not? Who cares at this point? Let's
something
go.
Something else that's cool about this is if you do not choose Yuki, like the guy, she will still be in the game. She'll just be an agent in the game, and it's vice versa, which I think is a really nice touch.
It's pretty
Pokemon's been doing that, yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Pokemon's
Smart.
done that like since the for the longest time.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We're just saying, like, no, yeah, it's a cool feature. We like when Pokemon did it. We like when they're doing it here.
Now
Hopefully
we
we
do
get, like,
have.
Hopefully we get costumes too, like changeable costumes for them as well, because that will get more people buying Digimon as well.
Probably not. They don't do it for the because that's what it is in these games. Remember, like, your protagonist is less the focus than the Digimon are. So you really care more about getting your new Digimon and what a new Digimon looks like. So, like, I play all these. They still do the old school thing of like, you get one costume and let's roll. And I say this as somebody who loves alternate costumes. I'd love to see it. It's just, this is the wrong tree to bark up for that.
So we do have the synopsis for this, and it says the story begins in Tokyo, Japan. The protagonist is an agent of Adamas, a secret organization that specializes in investigating and solving anomalous phenomena. In the course of their investigations, they encounter an unknown creature called a Digimon in Shinjuku, an area sealed off by the government, and are caught up in a mysterious explosion. They then reawaken 8 years in the past and discover that Tai is still an annoying asshole. But yeah, we've got you bring up a good point about that, Spencer. Why aren't we doing Digimon waifus? Like a whole Digimon waifu gacha game is just right there. What the fuck?
It's right there.
You got Angelomon for one thing, Lady Devimon. You got Lilymon.
You don't even have to do
Wolfmon.
that. You can do the like the Twisted Wonderland style where you just go like, this is our Agumon, and it's just a cute anime girl version of Agumon, right? Like,
yeah, that'd be cute.
These gacha games at this point are I don't. It is the new like guaranteed success, guys, or not guaranteed success, but if you make a gacha game with some established IP, you're gonna make tons of money. It's the old live service, it's the new live service, it's the new battle royale. Like these games, it's the whales. We all know this, but they will make you $1 gazillion, especially maybe not here in America where we're already paying $1 bazillion for everything else, but in Japan, in China, all those places, like they made a Kamen Rider gacha game for girls where like all the riders were transformed into really like Bishonen boys, and that thing is cracking in money like you wouldn't believe, like you would not believe.
Yeah, and again, it's that simple, and we just ignore it because here we're trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to challenge what is normal, what works, what has worked for grandpa, worked for dad, apparently won't work for us. But again, like this waifu thing, excellent step in the right direction. As we know, US media is trying to play catch up with all of this. So I think it's like a good temperature check on how Japan's doing with what we fear with the wokeification of their media, that it's not happening to Digimon. And Digimon is in a position where they really want to make money. They really want to revitalize this. It's the 25th anniversary of the franchise this year. So they really want to make sure that they're pushing out like a lot of no, it isn't. It's the 20th anniversary.
Tie-ins, all that stuff.
Not only that, but they want to put out something that people talk about.
Oh,
And
well, they
this-
already have that, right? Like that's what I was gonna say is right now, I'd say Digimon's actually experiencing somewhat of a giant resurgence because the card game is massively, insanely popular. Probably only beat out by like One Piece and Magic at this point, right? So everybody loves that game. They are at the top of like this is the right time for them to do all this. But now it's sort of to your point, Cider. It's like, how do you roll that into other things, right? Like, how do I roll that into getting more attention on our merch sales or ratings or all that stuff? And that's where they are. It's the easiest thing, guys. It is the easiest technique. It is the sex sells. It is the thing we all know. Everybody likes a good boob.
Unless you put a vagina in a catcher's mitt, and that.
I mean, I'm gonna buy one, and I wouldn't have before. They have a West Coast Oysters fan. Let's go. This is our year.
Spencer, you saw the new deck, right? You saw the new Tamers deck that they're coming out with for the Digimon game.
I don't play Digimon. That is one I play too many as it is. I can't add Digimon to the pile. I don't have the money.
The card art for it is just stunning. What they're doing for the Tamers deck, and it's like, dude, Tamers is finally getting more attention. So it's like,
well, that's because it's finally its time. Like that's what we're to like what Cider was saying, like 20th anniversaries, all that stuff. As that starts coming down, we'll start getting more, what do you call it? Like special projects, announcements. That's what they do really well about anime. You know that, right? Nerdigans is like, even if it's the most obscure anime ever, and it got like 3 episodes, you'll get something for its 25th anniversary, even if it's just like a sketch from the artist. Over here, it's like 25th anniversary of Spider-Man. You get like 7 covers and that's it. Let's keep going. And it's just like, all right, lame.
Well, then you get the figurines coming from Japan for Spider-Man for its anniversary.
I do want to ask Jacob though, as a guy who has been paying attention to Digimon franchise, as a guy who sat through the Digimon Ghost game, reviewed it, kind of produced a pretty consistent opinion about it. Let's put it that way. Does this feel different already?
The last game that I remember is I think you guys just talked about it a little while ago. What was it? Cyber Sloop? Was that the last?
Yeah, I think that was the last one.
Yeah, so when I saw the kind of the plot points of that game, I was just thinking to myself, this probably is what the anime should have been, because it seems like when it comes to their character creation and kind of their world building, they do more front on the gaming side of things. And not only that, I think the video games with the trading card games as well, I think gets a lot of play too. But it seems like they've kind of shifted over to, I guess that's their bread and butter now, more so than the anime. Because like I said, when it comes to the anime, all we've gotten is like the 17th sequel of Adventures, and then we get stuff like Ghost Game. So it's like they really don't have much going as far as like that medium goes. But the video games, apparently they're being a lot more receptive to it. And it is kind of odd, like you guys mentioned, that after all of these years, it seems to have some kind of like renaissance going on right now. I don't know if that's just the current state of like card games and video games in general, that people are so starved for something that they can hold on to, that they're now going back to Digimon, which in all intents and purposes probably should have died out. How long has it been now? Like 23 years ago up to this point, but now it's going back, and it just feels like after a while everything slowly starts to make a comeback once people realize just how out of ideas we really are. But
keep going. Yeah.
No, I was just going to add in just real quick. Yeah, so I mean, I like the steps that they're going here with this franchise. I just for some reason don't know why this can't translate into something that will be profitable on their animated side of things, or maybe they just think people are too obsessed with Ty and Matt to break away from anything that's new or out of the ordinary or something like that, right?
Well, no, like when you were saying that, that's when it hit me. So a lot, like I was saying, like a lot of these things get their resurgences because we're hitting just that point of it's been 10 years, 20 years, blah, 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 which is fine. But we don't, it's now the Power Rangers problem, right? Like that's what Digimon's hitting, which is like, okay, we'll give you the Tamers anniversary. We'll give you the original, like the O2 anniversary, all of this stuff. But then what do we like? Do people really want a Ghost Game anniversary? And if they do, what do you do after that? Well, you have nothing. So they are just milking the things they know are hyper popular and not really focusing on giving us something to keep going into the future with, which is what Power Rangers did. And that's why we're on Mighty Morphin version 9004.
And we have to talk about that a little bit later too. We have that to talk about. Quite a loaded night tonight. So we might end up running a little longer. That's not a demand on anybody here to stay through all of that, but we might end up running a little longer. So what I'm just saying is that we might end up running a little longer. There's quite a bit to talk about this evening. It's just a very full plate. So
well, I do want to mention, we'll see what happens with the new Digimon anime this fall. We'll see if it steps up, and it's hopefully not like Ghost Game.
We should be getting more previews of it soon. So we'll have at least a stronger idea what's going on with it. So that'd be neat. But we did have the title of the stream talking about Elon and Ubisoft, and I do want to get to that before too much longer. We're almost 2 hours into the show. What we're looking at here is pretty simple. Ubisoft has been pretty hit or miss since Assassin's Creed came out. They've been coming around telling people there are 2 million people playing the game. We don't have sales numbers. We don't have this kind of... we really only know that 60,000 people had the Assassin's Creed Shadows game running on Steam. Whether they were playing it or not, who knows? Over the weekend, there were 60,000 people with it open on Steam. And so right now, they went out and they got a collaboration with Hasan Piker.
Oh boy.
And so if you're not familiar with Hassan, I won't play his stuff here because it's live, and I don't know how YouTube treats that stuff live. I know how it treats it pre-recorded, so I can be careful, but I don't know how it treats it live because he says some incredibly stupid things. So
sounds about right.
He's most recently threatened the life of a well, I wouldn't say he threatened the life. He misused the platform that he had and said, if you want to fix Medicare fraud, you should harm a U.S. senator. And I realize that as an average everyday American, you can say that in a room full of people you're having coffee and donuts with. But as someone who has a 4 million, like you wouldn't tolerate Rush Limbaugh saying that. That's what they're trying to get at. And I think it's fair to say
already
that.
do, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, that's what I mean is I just wouldn't, I don't think people would tolerate the call for violence from somebody there. And they didn't with Hassan.
We see it all the time from the right too. Like it's a big problem. Let's not make that a partisan thing. There's way too many calls for violence from everybody. Like everybody needs to grow up a little bit.
In any case, Hassan most recently got banned for this over on Twitch, and it was just for a little bit, and he got back. But in any case, Ubisoft, having that happen already, decided they should reach out to Hassan and pay him in a paid collaboration after that happened. These are the same people that went around saying that people are not human if they disagree with Yasuke being in the game. These are the same people that went around saying that you're sexist, that you're a Nazi, that you're this and that and this and that. And then they're like, by the way, this guy that denies the crimes that happened during October 7th in Israel, we should probably give him a collaboration. That's what we ought to do. And this is the hypocrisy that I'm trying to point out, is that Ubisoft will run down these people that are working for the company, will run down people for having opinions that run against their politics.
Dude,
when somebody
come on.
they like,
oh my, come on, man. This is, they're not running anybody down. Like, Grums and Elon rightfully got put in their places because they're both bitches. Like, this is, I don't like Ubisoft. I don't like Hassan, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Ubisoft, the intern, probably knows the company's going down in like a month or two, and they said, screw it, we're going to get our digs in. And you know what? They were good ones. That's why Elon can't refute them. It's why Grums can't refute them. It's great. I laughed so hard. He's so fucking stupid at it, though, because you know what he did? He went, because Ubisoft goes, where's your game, Mark? And he goes, oh, well, this other game completely unrelated to all of this is outselling you. What now? And it's like, okay, great. Where's your game? Where the hell is the $6 million, dude? Like, you grifted all of it. Where is it? Where is it? Where's an update? You don't have it. So shut up and get to work.
Well, I mean, let's not let our hatred of Elon Musk kind of blind us from the problem here. Is that Assassin's Creed, or the Assassin's Creed, or Ubisoft in general, who got into the partnership with Hassan? Or was that the game itself or the parent company?
Probably both, because it was probably the parent company who reached out.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, they're kind of going after the fact on this whole thing. Like they're being slimed for their association with Hassan, who is a fraud. Let's be very honest here. He's a champagne socialist to the core. And, you know, he says, obviously has said a lot of very, very dumb things, and a lot of things that nobody would actually tolerate if he wasn't on, you know, his platform. And let's be honest, there have been people who have said far, far less. I literally just got into an argument with Dizzy about this, like literally 30 minutes before I got here, over the whole Gina Carano thing. And there are people out there that still believe that she should have been rightfully fired for doing misinformation and comparisons to Nazis, which they never even got right, too. They never said that being a conservative in Hollywood was the same as being a Nazi in Nazi Germany. That wasn't even the point that she was trying to make. This was during the whole COVID panic thing that was going on with the mask. It was even before the vaccine mandates. But leave it here to this whole situation. It's like, so Hassan, so let me rephrase this here. Hassan was basically supposed to do a collaboration with Assassin's Creed as formed with Twitch, right? That was before his Twitch ban, right? That's how.
Nope.
Correct.
As far as I know, this was since Assassin's Creed came out. This was organized.
Well, we don't know. So this could have been signed like way before that was.
That's what I was saying. So was this agreed? So it was announced after the fact, but it was agreed upon before his ban.
No idea about when it was agreed, but he just, because it was he didn't like advertise. It was just like one day he popped up and said, "Playing Assassin's Creed, sponsored," and so it was probably we don't know when it was.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, in the end of the day, it's all political mudslinging back and forth at this point in time. And look, if your, I guess, a view of the right and the left is essentially Hassan and Elon Musk, then I mean, yeah, you're going to be completely skewed and off the map when it comes to that. If that was those two individuals that you're using as a baseline for political discourse, because, like, yeah, I don't trust either one of them. I don't think either one of them is good for discourse. And honestly, I don't feel like.
Look at my pen. I'm holding it. I'm such a genius. What a chode.
Which one?
Elon. Well, both
and you
of them.
got Hassan denying the rapes that happened during October.
That's
7th.
fine.
So
and yeah, I don't like him either.
Useless,
this isn't a. I'm not defending Hassan. Hassan sucks as well. But I'm also saying rare Ubisoft W. Both of those jerks got.
But the Hassan thing is what started this. Then Elon replied to the Hassan part of it. Then that's when the Assassin's Creed went on. And so I mean, the whole genesis point of this whole thing was Ubisoft's relationship with Hassan in the first place that got criticized, and then they came back at him over the whole gamer thing because it got exposed. What was it, like a year ago or something like that? That Elon,
he admitted it. Yeah, that was only like 2 months ago. He admitted it.
Yeah, but I can see. Go ahead.
We can go out and raise a lot of hell with the Bounding Comics account. We can go out and fuck with everybody with that account, just like Trent used to do.
We
That
absolutely
that
can
was
just
a
go
lot
yell
of
at
dumb
everybody.
bullshit. You know, we can go in and start
Yeah.
these fights, but you're not supposed to do that with a corporate account. When you got this neat check mark,
But here's
you're
the
not
thing.
supposed to do that. And if you're a paid intern, that should not be what you're doing.
I
You
think
promote your dumb game and you collect your check and you go home.
I'm
and
sorry,
put your
I
pig up
disagree.
your butt.
I think this is perfect promotion. These are two jackasses. Elon has no idea what he's talking about. He just goes, I don't like Hassan. And he goes, I've heard Shadows is woke. He does not know Naoe's name. He doesn't know Yasuke's name. He probably doesn't know that there was a delay of any kind. He's just one of those dudes who sees anything that comes down his feed and goes, this is correct. If he agrees with it, of course. If there's anything pushing, he goes, nope, gotta censor it. Nope, that's wrong. You're a liar. Oh my God. Right.
But that doesn't absolve Ubisoft's
no, but this
connection
is
with
I'm getting
Hassan,
to
which
this.
seemed to be the point
I'm not
here.
talking about that. I've already said that's bad.
Well,
I've already said I don't like him. What I'm
No,
getting
no,
at
you're
here is
talking
it-
about the
hold on.
counterslide that from Elon, though.
I am. Well, but listen. This is hold on, let me finish. Because what I'm saying is Cider's going, no, if you have a corporate account, you should just be promoting your game. You should just be quiet. You should just be I get
a
that.
perfect
But
world.
in this case, the account only has something to gain, right? Like these are rightful swings against a guy who doesn't know what he's talking about, and then another guy who just sits there and goes, this is woke, give me more money, please. And doesn't
But
it
who
has
are you,
no accountability.
Who are you winning with this slide? Because like I said, the whole point here is
People
that
who
are
destroy
criticizing-
Teslas.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
right?
I don't care. This is a win for Ubisoft. They got rightful dunks. I don't care
Based
about
on-
anything else.
Is it a
Based
win
on the
just
fact-
because they dunked on Elon Musk? Is that
No, it's a win because it was a rightful dunk. It was a good dunk.
It
That's
wasn't
what
a
it
crap
was.
dunk. It wasn't like a BS dunk.
Right.
Like,
It's not just them going, oh, you're stupid. They got him with an actual point that shows you don't have any credibility in this discussion.
and also, if you look at the replies and the QRTs, a lot of people are saying that they weren't going to buy Assassin's Creed Shadows, and now they're going
Exactly.
to because of this.
Well, there's that. And like you go, oh, I've seen so many people go, oh, wow, you've turned people off of chat. People have already made up their mind about this game. Ubisoft's not going to win over anybody by going, oh, we're just going to promote. This is what they'll be remembered for with this game, and it was a win. That is a win for that intern.
I mean, hey, look, if Assassin's Creed wants to essentially win over the commies that hate Elon, and that's their fan base and that's their user base, then I mean, hey, look, that's their decision, and that's what they want to go with. I mean, look, we've talked about Assassin's Creed and the stuff that's going on ad nauseum here. At this point in time, those type of people are probably the only ones who would buy this game at that point. So it's like if we're going all in on partisanism, and it's like, hey, look, let's try to win over some of these people with our tweets, and that's how we're going to save ourselves.
This isn't partisanism, man. This is calling out two.
This is partisanism.
No, it's not. No, it's not, man.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it's insane.
Why are you
deserved 9/11.
I am not defending Hassan.
America
Why
deserved
are you...
9/11, dude. America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it. America deserved 9/11, dude.
But here's
Fuck
the
it.
thing.
Are you just gonna
America
shout me down
deserved
when that's not what
9/11,
I'm
dude.
talking about,
Fuck it.
Cider?
I'm saying it.
We're there.
This is
But
what
you
that
can't
intern
be-
defended.
But
I don't care
like
what
I
your
said-
W is, Spencer. This is what the fucking intern
That's fucking
defended.
fine. I
When they're
already said
talking
I don't
about
agree with that.
Nazis
This
running
was a dunk.
people into a camp, and this guy
was
shows
a-
up and gets a dunk
this
on
dunk-
Elon, you going to celebrate it? I didn't think so.
Yeah, well,
it's because
guess
Elon's
what?
involved. You got a
No, it's
hate
not.
boner for the
It's-
guy.
I hate disingenuous pieces of shit, and that is what Elon is, and that is what Grums is. I don't like Hassan.
And
I don't know
Hassan.
how clear I have to make that. I have said that from the beginning of this fucking discussion. Hassan sucks. He is
you
not
can't
a
just
good person.
remove
Everything he
Hassan
touches
from the
sucks.
context of
but I
how
can
we got
say
here.
I'm not removing him from the context, but what I am saying is that dunk, that specific dunk on Elon and Grums was a win in that dunk. I'm not supporting the fact that they're pushing back against the Hassan shit. I'm just saying that is the appropriate response to two people who don't know what the fuck they're talking
So
about.
great.
If Cider brought it up and he wanted to go talk to them, I would go, no, don't write off Cider, because Cider's actually cares. He's actually on the ground. He knows what he's talking about.
So
those
the
two just want
Ubisoft
to go, look at me, look
Ubisoft
at me,
got
look
a
at
dunk.
me.
Ubisoft got a dunk on Elon Musk. Okay, fine. It was a dunk on him based on something that he had admitted to a while back ago. That doesn't take away from the fact that people were still upset about the fact that Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed were getting into business with a guy who were saying those things about
I'm
America.
not
who
saying
said a
it did.
multitude.
I'm not saying it did. I'm not saying it did. I'm saying that was dumb. I'm saying Hassan sucks. but I can also recognize that Elon and Grum suck. Like and it's two different sucks, but to say that I'm defending Hassan is completely disingenuous. And
I didn't say you were defending
him.
But I was just saying there's a point.
Cider is saying that I'm defending Hassan, that this is what I support, when I've never said that. I support stupid people getting put in their place. Yes, the entire backing and the entire lead up to it is a bad thing, but I can still
I hope
say
this intern only serves coffee for the rest of their lives.
Okay. Well, let's be honest, that probably won't happen. I mean,
but I do want to mention this.
It's just the nature of what our world is at this point. Because let's be honest, you probably would have gotten more heat if he had said something positive about Elon Musk. That's just the nature of where we're at right now. If he was sympathetic to Elon Musk, then yeah, all the Tesla destroying people would be after them, and then you would have heat from both sides, right? Because like I said, you've already pissed off one side of the aisle for this. Then you would have pissed off the other side.
Assassin's Creeds.
And that probably would have ended up harming them far more than the position that they're at right now. Like I said, they've essentially burned their bridge to the point where, like I said, the American hating commies are all they have left, and that's the tunnel that they wanted to dig for themselves. So it's like, if that's their tunnel, let them have it. And like I said, this is a situation for them that won't end very well on a multitude of levels, especially when we talked about everything going on in sales. If this is the hill that they want to die on, let them die on the hill at this point.
They already know they're dying. Like, that's the thing. I'm sure the intern knows, like, I won't have a job in a month. I might as well get a swing in.
Exactly. But there's also one thing, too. Elon could have avoided this if he didn't post the tweet about Hassan being a sellout. All he had to say was Hassan is a fraud, and that's it. And then move on.
I just think Elon doesn't have a place in this discussion, and all it does is poison the well on all sides.
And let me just add this whole context here, because from what we're seeing here that's on screen, it seems like Elon was specifically just going after Hassan, not more so the game itself. Is that a wrong interpretation there, that he was basically throwing his pot shot at Hassan?
I think you get both.
I think you get both in this. Yeah, you get both in this.
That's why I said if he didn't have the sellout tweet there, then Assassin's Creed probably would have left him alone.
Well, and again, I mean, this is where it's at. I pull a lot of my punches with this official account. This is not, I don't treat bounding as my personal dumping ground. I do put a lot of my opinions into this, but I always cool off before I run into talk. I could have said a lot of things about Hassan this morning. I had a lot of things on my mind about Hassan. That opening video about all that metal stuff and burning their kingdoms was as emotional as I could get without bearing into the point where we were going to get sued. And I have to be very careful. And that's why I say that this right here is where I draw the line. Go on your little account with your own little identity and say, boo-hoo, I don't like this, and do your thing. But when you drag the corporate account into it, dead company or not, we've violated them. We've now made it open season. That anybody can go out and do that. So the bounding account can go out and say, you know what?
We already have that from the president, from the people in power. There's no standards anymore. All right. Anybody can go out and do these.
I will say this to Sider's point here, and
you cannot like it, but let's not pretend like it's a giant societal fail. Like they're the only ones doing this.
Mostly, but no. Here's why I'll disagree with Sider on one point here. Is like I don't want to sound like a celebrationist. Is that the word they want to say here? Yeah. But I do think that we need to get to a point where people need to start drawing the line in the sand and showing themselves exactly who they are, right? Like I said, this is a company who wants to get in bed with Hassan with everything that he has said over the last several years. You can find a multitude of clips. Like, they knew who he was before they had this deal in the works, whether it was after the fact, but they know exactly who he is. So it's not a situation. It's like, oh, wait, we didn't hear this thing. Well, we don't agree with that. They know exactly what's going on here. So by doing this, they're revealing to you exactly what they stand for, and what they stand for is exactly what Hasan Piker stands for. If that was not the case, they clearly would not be in business with him. So if Assassin's Creed wants to essentially jump on that boat and show their allegiances, fine. At this point, let them do it, because I think we need more people to start taking the mask off and showing them exactly who they are, so that people can make the informed decision whether they want to support these people or not. Does that mean that some people's favorite franchises are going to burn down to the ground? You got to sit there and watch it happen? Probably, yeah, it's going to happen. But guess what? It's been happening for several years. It's not going to stop.
We've already gotten there.
Worse.
Yeah,
and it's going to get worse before it gets better. So, I mean, on paper, yeah, they probably shouldn't have these little pissing matches on their official account. But like I said, the company, by and large, endorsed it one way or another. So if they're willing to bring Hassan on for this whole project, or they were willing to at one point. I don't know what the status is right now, but if they were willing to, I highly doubt that they're going to go after this intern for dunking on Elon Musk. But we know that the majority of the left-wing world right now hates and despises Elon Musk for a multitude of reasons. So, like I said, in the little bubble that they've created for themselves, they may consider this a win. I think everyone else is looking at it like, okay, so you guys are one of those. And then they're going to start, as a good buddy Eric July say, we're going to start acting accordingly. So
that's a famous phrase.
Well, I mean, look, if I remember correctly, the Dragon Age Veilguard account was attacking people too, and you saw what happened.
See, that's the exact same thing. Or let me rephrase this. What did you mean, Nerdigans? I might have misinterpreted what you just said. I thought you were giving an update. Were you recalling?
I was recalling.
You mean when the game launched or now?
I was saying before launch it was happening.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. I thought you were saying that Veilguard was coming out now, trying to dunk on Assassin's Creed Shadows critics, and that was going to be a whole thing. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I misinterpreted.
Before Veilguard launched, the Dragon Age account was attacking people that were disagreeing with them, and they were hiding tweets and all that. And it's really, that's inappropriate behavior. From what I think is an inappropriate behavior from a corporate account is actually hiding replies.
Oh yeah,
but
don't
like I said,
because all you're doing is you're showing who you're aligned with that way.
Well, let me get things clear here, okay? I just want to make this clear. To level with you, Spencer, I don't believe you're defending Hassan. I replayed that clip over and over to illustrate that that's what the intern was defending. Why they arrived in here and called Elon out was because Hassan was in this equation. And that's why I replayed that. I don't believe you're defending terrorism. I don't believe you think that anything inappropriate Hassan has said is appropriate. I want to make that clear.
Cool. Yeah, no, I got you.
The second part of this is that I went and I looked at the hidden replies on the Assassin's Creed posts, and I don't think it's okay to have like a George Floyd as Yasuke in the replies on a corporate account. I understand why they don't.
Wait, was that people like replying in meme style, or were the actual corporate?
No, it wasn't.
The corporate account.
Yeah.
The corporate account made a post.
I'm about to say, okay, hold on now.
No. They didn't put out the George Floyd picture. No.
I was about to say, hold on a second.
No, it was like the meme George Floyd picture. Like I will.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to say, if Assassin's Creed did that, it'd be okay. Now we need to have a different conversation,
right? Like, okay, never mind.
That was
like raise your cup from across the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where, to an extent, I agree with Cider, is that if it's like a death threat or something like that, then that's one thing. But if it's just like people like criticizing the game,
bingo,
that's where it's like no. And also something that's very frustrating is when accounts like the Halo account, for example, locks the replies because it's like you're trying to hide something.
Right.
You don't want to have a discussion.
I think you're both like, that's exactly where it should be, especially for corporate accounts, right? Is like, if there is, spoilers, or there is something, very controversial like the George Floyd meme, you hide those because you just don't want to deal with it. But if it's just somebody saying like, this game sucks, this game's woke, whatever, don't go after that, because then that just shows thin skin, right?
I get it, but let's keep this in perspective here too. Like, if we're siding with champagne socialists, and let's be honest, these are probably the same type of people who don't really value the idea of freedom of speech that we all share, right? And if we're being consistent with ourselves, these are the type of people it's like, we need to hide the Nazis.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what I'm getting at, right? Is any account that goes like that well's already poisoned. But if you are hiding, like, here's the ending of the game or whatever, I get that, because that's a different conversation and a whole different thing.
But look, again, guys, let's be honest with ourselves here. It's like Disney is on the verge of losing like $400 million on Snow White, right? A movie that anyone with half a brain could have told them over the course of the last 3 years was never going to work, and you are going to lose 9 figures. And they did not listen. Every step of the way, they refused to listen. We're not dealing with business majors, right? Like, the answers that we're giving here, this is the answers that we give in like a business ethics class when we're trying to pass with like an 89. That's like, It sounds great on paper, but this is not how the business world, especially the corporate world in America and the entire world, works anymore, right? People do things based off of emotions, and a lot of things they do are extremely stupid, and they lose a lot of money as a result of it. Like, if you're someone listening to this right now and you have like a business degree, like a marketing degree, you might as well burn it because they lied to you. They told you that you need this piece of paper to prove that you're qualified to be in the position that you're in right now, and then you see these chuckle fucks going around here burning down one company after another, millions to billions of dollars going up in flames, and you realize, oh wait, they lied to me, and now I'm thousands of dollars in financial debt.
Well, speaking of that, speaking of end games, if you will, we do have the first teaser for Avengers Doomsday. It has absolutely nothing to do with the Avengers themselves, but everything to do with how much money Disney is going to burn.
This was so lame.
Like,
here's all the names that are going to be associated with this movie that we're probably going to spend $600 million on.
Oh, and there's also more. There's more to come too. So yeah, Brie Larson wasn't shown here, but
we'll get to it. Yeah, there's a lot of people left to show. Like, I did see a lot of people going, "Where's Brie? Oh, she's out." And it's like, dude, they didn't even announce like Tom Holland, and you know that dude's going to be in there. Like, let's breathe for a second.
Yeah, I was surprised that they brought the original Fox X-Men cast back.
I'm not. I am not, because so we'll get into it. Or I mean, there's not really anything to get into. As Cider has here up on the screen, earlier today, Marvel had a surprise live stream out of nowhere where they played this video where it's just a walking down the row shot of all these various actor chairs showing these are certain people who are going to be in the movie, and we've got, you know, Paul Rudd, Chris Hemsworth, yada yada yada. Nobody here that you would really be surprised at. Well, I was kind of surprised by Tena Cuerta as Namor, because I thought that dude was like in like lots of trouble for like,
yeah.
So they're basically just confirming that the Marvel Suicide Squad, aka the Thunderbolts, are also going to be in this movie too.
Oh, dude, I saw it was either CBR or comicbook.com, but when they were covering this announcement like video, they were like, this Marvel or this Doomsday trailer just made Thunderbolts required viewing, and I'm like, it's the MCU. That's all required. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, is that where we're at with this marketing campaign?
The glaring omission here, and everyone's talked about it, is that they had the choice. It's like, do we bring back Jennifer Lawrence? And they were like, no. We're bringing back. We don't care if Rebecca Romijn is 60 years old. We're bringing her back.
Rebecca still looks amazing. But yeah, there's nobody reached out to Jennifer Lawrence for this one. I can guarantee you that. But yeah, so that came out earlier today. Various names. As Nerdigans pointed out a second ago, one of the, I guess, highlights you could call it, if that, is that there are a lot of old Fox X-Men character or actors coming back. I mean, obviously Patrick Stewart. Then you've got Ian McKellen as Mags. You've got
Kelsey Grammer as Beast.
Kelsey Grammer as Beast. Rebecca Romijn as Mystique. Was that it? I didn't watch the entire
Alan
thing.
Cummings, I think, is.
That's right. Yeah, Alan Cummings, Nightcrawler, right? So there's a lot of those guys. And so to your point, Nerdigans, you said a second ago, like, oh, I'm surprised there were so many of them. I'm not. And here's why. I'm pretty sure this is their Deadpool and Wolverine seal clap play, right? Is to go, come to see this movie. It's going to have all of these old Fox X-Men characters, and you want to see them, right? Like they're going to be a big focus. To me, I would be more excited if they were like Finn Jones, Kristen Ritter, Mike Coulter, Charlie Cox, like show those guys, or Gabriel Luna, or Diego, one of those Lunas who was supposed to be Ghost Rider. Show Daisy Johnson. Like, those characters would get me hyped, because then I'm like, oh, you're actually going full Secret Wars. This is MCU. Now I just feel like they're going to go. Honestly, I think it's going to be like Avengers versus X-Men instead of two universes of Avengers against each other. And then that's what it is. It's like, you love Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler, right? Because like that one, that's how you know this is just a really bad, cheap marketing ploy. Because like, we like Alan Cummings. We liked his Nightcrawler. I don't know. I've never heard him in any conversation. Nobody's ever asked him about it. It was just like who can we get back? And that's where we're at. So like,
who's not dead or in prison?
At this point, I'm not even sure that like a prison sentence would stop somebody from showing up in this movie.
I keep replaying this because you got to pay attention to this stuff.
Oh,
Okay?
Danny
The first-
Ramirez. Woo.
Well, no, Disney cheated.
That's a side
No,
thing. I'm just saying, like, woo. But yeah, go ahead.
Disney cheated these chairs. Keep an eye on the top of the where they're sliding these things down. There's only slight variations in a couple of them, and then they start copy and pasting after a while. Look at that.
Yep.
There it is. And so this is all their dumb volume 3D Unreal Engine stuff until you get to the last two chairs with Robert Downey Jr. and he's looking at a green screen wall behind him going, wow, my legacy.
Whoa. Well, like you can see the R's are all weird. I don't know. It was just off-putting. None of this like made me.
Hey guys, Shang-Chi's gonna be in the Avengers. Did you guys see that? Shang-Chi's back. You guys love the Shang-Chi.
They put the guy I hate next to my wife. I can't believe they did that.
By the way, they just confirmed. Hold on a second. Pause it for a second.
Whoa,
Lewis Pullman, isn't that the guy who's playing Sentry in the next
That's why
movie?
I just reacted. They did. So now we know that he survived.
So Sentry somehow is gonna live in one way or another, because he's gonna have to be in the Avengers movie that's coming out next. So the entire movie that's coming out here in like a month and a half, they already told you that in some way, shape,
doesn't
or form,
matter.
Everyone's gonna survive, and it doesn't matter, and they're all gonna be in Avengers.
Well, to that point, the other funny thing I saw was a bunch of people were like, like the Marvel updates accounts or whatever was like, confirmed Thunderbolts returning for Doomsday. All members confirmed except Taskmaster. And I'm like, because we know she's dying.
But like, why would they be? They can't. Why would they be returning if the movie hasn't happened yet? They would have to arrive before they could eventually return.
No. Because remember, Oh, I mean, yeah, that's fair. Okay, now never mind. Yeah. No. I was confusing myself. Yeah, exactly. Like,
so you guys predicted it last week when we talked about Doomsday. You brought up that Taskmaster was going to be the sacrificial scene one that motivates everybody. So there's the plot to the movie. Taskmaster is killed, and they all go out to avenge their buddy. And that,
but then, like, we're also getting like this. What this tells me that if Sentry is here, this tells me that the movie probably ends with either him just going like, "Bye, can't stop me," which makes it sort of like, well, then why were we even here? Like, could this not have been like a special?
Well, I mean, we were literally asking the question. It's like, how are a bunch of people with guns going to stop Sentry? And then I guess the answer to that question is they don't.
They're not. Yeah, they don't. They don't. Right? Like they don't. But now this
the
makes
other
it
option,
clear.
though.
I just hope this isn't like I hope they're not doing this thing where they're going to rewrite Sentry's character fully, and he's like a villain, and then they go, "Oh, you're just misunderstood," and he like flies away. And then,
or they do the even gayer thing, which would essentially be
how is that? How is there anything gayer than that?
Oh, here you go. They somehow managed to kill Sentry by BS beams, and then they tease at the very end of the movie, well, there's another Sentry in the multiverse somewhere.
No.
Even that one's stronger than the one that was in this movie.
Or they'll either do that, or it'll just be like the Void, right? Like the Void, the secret credits, the Void takes over his body, and we have Void Sentry. Like, you're completely right, Jacob.
That'll be how they survive, though. That's the thing, is that the final credit, final scene will be them fighting the Void into the multiverse.
Because that's essentially what's going to happen.
Void. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. It's the only way to defeat the Void is to take him out of the universe that he's in.
Yeah, actually.
And then you can put him into a pocket universe. Well, the problem with the pocket universe is it's Battle World. So they drop the Void into the middle of Battle World, and he becomes the first challenge in Doomsday. Ta-da!
And
well, like said,
knowing Marvel, he'll be defeated by like a quip too. You know that. She-Hulk.
It'll be Xavier that goes into oh god, I forgot Sentry's guy. Who's Sentry's guy again? What's his alias? Jimmy?
Bob.
Goes into Bob's mind. He goes into Bob's mind. He's like, Bob, why are you doing this? And then Bob's like, I don't know. I'm sad.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
He's like, well, why don't you come back to my school? We have Halle Berry's titties. Oh, you have Halle Berry's titties. Okay, let's go.
Like,
and
finally. But then he shows up and he's like,
oh,
you meant 2025 Halle Berry. I thought it was still 2004. I have to go back.
I thought you were talking about 1999 Funka Jason.
And that's how we get to the Fox X-Men universe. He's like, I need to go back to that Halle Berry. Like, I need to go to that storm.
And then Sentry gets pissed off and wants to kill everyone again because he realized that he got
the whole movie is just Sentry's blue balls. That's all it is. It's just the multiverse of blue balls.
I wouldn't be against it. It would at least be something new.
It'd be different.
Right. That's what I mean.
The way that this is
Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, the quest to get Sentry laid.
So with the way that this is set up, somebody's gonna have to have an unearned face turn, whether it be Sentry or Doctor Doom, because they can't both be the bad guys.
Oh,
in this
it's
movie.
Doom. We know it's Doom. We know it's Doom. Marvel is not creative enough or brave enough in any of their media to like actually take a swing, right?
They're not going to kill Robert Downey Jr. twice.
Bingo, exactly. They're not going to kill Robert Downey Jr. and they're not going to let like, oh, we don't want people leaving the movie thinking RDJ is bad still. Like they treat us like kindergartners because that's kind of like that level of Hollywood executive IQ, right? It's that whole thing about smart characters are only as smart as the people writing them. Well, movies are only as clever as the people writing them, and these people are not clever in at all. Yeah, exactly, Ravul. They can't.
Just keep in mind that this era of Avengers are significantly weaker than the ones that went against Thanos. Like significantly weaker.
That's all they are. They're just a group of super soldiers.
You've got super soldiers. You've got a like D out of training Thor, right? Like that's where he left off at the end of that awful Waititi one. That like it.
Black Panther, who's the size of like a Ethiopian child.
Dude, I hope they make him like just make a little tiny Black Panther. That would be hilarious. But like even right now, Carol Danvers just playing the cards we're dealt with what they've told us. If she's so powerful, but right now she's like on a break and like depowered and not at her peak. So what, like if you don't have Carol and you don't have Thor, and I guess you've got Doctor Strange. Oh my God, I didn't even realize this until right now. The third eye. They don't have another movie to explain that, right? Well, we already know they did the really dumb thing where like that was the tease, and then the post-credit scene is him going like, "Oh yeah, no, it's cool, I've got it."
Well,
like,
remember they were also supposed to have Charlize Theron be female Doctor Strange, and then then now he's just being tossed into this movie. So
and that's what I mean is like now you right, like now you've got to wrap up that loose end here. Like this movie's going to be a mess, like a genuine mess.
And I highlight this comment here too. This is the exact same problem with Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? Because Ant-Man Quantumanium, where it's like we're going to introduce Kang, who's going to be the next Avengers villain, but we're introducing him in Ant-Man 3, a guy who couldn't possibly stop Kang if he tried, and that's the movie that we're going to do to introduce us to. They're doing the same thing with the Thunderbolts. It's like, here's Sentry, he's going up against a bunch of people who couldn't possibly stop him if they tried.
Well, and that's the point.
Power of friendship.
I have a feeling that we're going to get a surprise cameo from Doctor Strange now that you bring that up. Because he's going to probably be what opens up the multiverse gate in order to get Void out of the universe. Because he's like spell booking and he's like, there's no way to stop the Void. The only way to get rid of it is to put it in a pocket universe. And
Planet Hulk,
Strange,
pretty much,
Stranges it up, and it ends up in Battle World, and he just drops the Void into the middle of Battle World, and that'll be the first challenge. And it'll probably, as Leslie asked, the Void will probably kill most of the OG X-Men. I think you'll probably only see Wolverine, maybe.
I
Hugh Jackman show up.
You probably get Wolverine, and we probably get like McKellen and Stewart for a while, right? But no, I'm right here.
I don't think those guys will make it though, because they're 100 years old. Quite literally, they're 100 years old.
Absolutely, they'll film it out of order, right? Like they'll film their scenes first for insurance. Like they know that, Cider. I'm sure they do. You can't look at them and not know that. Like even the dumbest person, even the most like commie-brained neoliberal has to look at those two and go like, yeah, we need to get them to Canada. They need to get some MAID or whatever that's called. Yeah.
Avengers last entry, whatever it's going to be after Doomsday, whatever that was.
So for people asking what's going to happen with Brie Larson and why she wasn't highlighted and showcased in this one, she's currently working on another project right now where they got her looking like the front man from Linkin Park who killed himself. So I don't know when in between this project and Doomsday they're gonna throw her back in the Captain Marvel universe. But then again, because of the way they introduced her, she is somewhat of a significant character, so she can't go the entire 2 movies without being in at least 1 or 2 of them explaining what happened to her. Like they're not gonna do something stupid like kill her off screen or something like that. So it's like, where do you squeeze her back into the universe?
Now that you bring that up, you're completely right. They won't kill her off, and they have to put her in there somewhere. I'm guessing that this first movie is going to be the full multiversal romp, right? Like this is where they go to other universes, and that's where we'll like see what was her name as what's her name? The the other Captain Marvel from the Marvels, like the alternate universe one. Her Lashana Lynch, right? That's her?
No. Well, are you talking about her, or was it like Phantom or something like that? The one to play her daughter, I think.
Somebody. The one from the one at the end of the Marvels, like she'll be the Captain Marvel for that movie, and then they'll have her, like they'll have Brie at the end of the next one for the big fight, right? And that'll only require them to get her in on set for like maybe a week, and they can put that off for years. Like they haven't even started filming this movie, guys. Like this movie doesn't start filming for another 3 months, and they want it out in November of next year. Like it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be very, very rough.
I think they're gonna use a lot of AI for this.
Oh,
they're gonna use a lot of AI.
1000%, man.
If they already teased it with Secret Invasion, so it wouldn't surprise me if they already got it rolled out.
Well, and that's just it. Is that like with face replace, the technology that I use to make you and the other guys here and Nerdigan into the intros there, where we all look like we're wearing costumes and have these cool Hollywood sets to do this stuff on, that can be used on celebrities. If you have an AI that gives you permission to do that, most of the publicly available ones have restrictions on celebrity faces. Certain ones.
But publicly available. There's the key word.
If you're a multi-billion-dollar mega corporation, you can have an AI made for you. And I believe that Disney has perfected it to the point that it can handle like regular motion scenes. It can probably handle an actor that looks like a stunt double of Robert Downey Jr. And they do a face replace on that person, and they do a vocal replace on that person. So Robert Downey Jr. may only be in like the scenes that they really need to do close-ups on him where the AI can't goof it. Same thing with the other stars.
Or is he going to do
completely AI?
Is he going to do like the Hollywood actor thing where it's like, no, they need to see my face for most of the movie, or is he actually going to put on an iron mask for 3 hours? Like, which was
we have been told that this is not Victor. We have been told that this is Doom. So I don't think he's going to be wearing a mask. This mask will be his logo.
This is like one of those like weirdo universe Dooms where it's like, what if Spider-Man became Wolverine? Like one of those type of things.
Oh, honestly, did you know you're going to get like 7 jokes of that where like Doctor Strange will talk to, I don't know, like let's say Kelsey Grammer or whatever. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to call the guy on the Avengers we know, Spider-Man, and Kelsey Grammer will be like, Spider-Man, I thought he was, in like jail for blah 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 blah, and it'll be like, no, this is a different one, and they're going to do that like 90 times, and it's going to be annoying.
Yep. But this is the thing, is that they've tipped the scale already into what this is. Tony had a paranoia break. That's what Ultron, Age of Ultron was all about. Was Tony having his paranoia break after the fall of, after the battle for New York, having his paranoia break. And that was exemplified in the Iron Legion. Now, Doombots and Iron Legion, not that too far apart. So that's what the multiverse version of Doom is. This one said, if I can't save the world, I'll destroy it and rebuild it in a safer way. And that's what he did, is he used Ultron to exterminate the Avengers who stood in his way of robbing people of their autonomy. And then he uses those autonomous flying shield helicarriers that were designed to murder people for bad opinions, if you remember.
Yeah.
They would suborbital destroy you if you were thinking wrong. That's what will be enforcing. Those would be Doom carriers. You can see it in your mind already that all the previous assets are just going to reskin them so they can save their money. And that's what this Doom is going to be. He's just going to be Doom in that he decided, I will be the most hated person in human history, but I will save them from themselves.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you're completely... Yeah.
And there it is.
Yeah, there
and
it
that's
is.
where Nomad Cap... That's where Nomad... I got to reload that. That's where Nomad Cap shows up. Is that he's the perfect opposite because he's completely disillusioned, has nothing to lose, and absolutely hates the idea of control. So there you go.
No,
you get round 2 of Captain America Civil War just on the multiverse level.
You are, and then you're also like about the mask. I agree with you guys. I don't think he's going to be wearing it a lot. I think he's either going to have an image inducer or something that makes it look like he's normal RDJ, and then at the end of Doomsday or something, it breaks and you see his face for a second. The mask will show up, but I guarantee it'll be like Zemo in Winter Soldier or Falcon in the Winter Soldier, where he puts it on for like the battle, and then you see it for like 5 seconds and he takes it off.
Well,
right.
Like the other thing too, we have to keep this in greater context here, is that this whole movie, this Doomsday movie, is nothing more than a pivot from what they were originally had planned with the Kang Dynasty. This is supposed to be all about Jonathan Majors and Kang, and then that blew up in their face. So now it's like, okay, how do we get to where we were going to end up with Secret Wars anyway, but doing it without Jonathan Majors in the role? So whatever they're doing in this film is going to be nothing more but the pivot to, okay, we need to somehow get the Secret Wars from here. So I would say
they're
that
just brute
I
forcing their way there. Like they're not even trying. They're just like, we got to get there.
Honestly, I don't even think that in that context, like Robert Downey Jr. as Doom might not even have as big as a role in this film as we think that he does. Like, sure, there'll be like some fight scene where he goes against a few of the Avengers, but I think that by the end of the film,
we'll get like a monologue or something. Like, yeah.
By the end of the film, they're going to realize, oh wait, but there's a greater threat out there, and then that's what's going to lead them into Secret Wars, because like I said, this is all trying to redirect traffic back to Secret Wars at the end of the day. So
and that's where the Sentry comes in, right? Like, oh no, he's coming back, that we all have to unite, or maybe that's what it is. Like they shunt off the Sentry, and then somebody else from another multiverse is like, did you do this? We need to stop this.
Well, I mean, remember, I think it was like the first season of Marvel's What If. They accidentally came up with like a great idea for the movie, but then they couldn't do it because everyone would know they were ripping it off. Remember when the What If where Ultron kills Thanos and it's revealed that Ultron was still alive this whole time? He was biding his time for the
and then
right
he like
moment
got
to strike.
and he got all the gems and he became that threat. Yes, you're right. That would have been amazing to do here.
Yeah. Just bring back James Spader to be Ultron, but it's like they can't do that now. So it's like, well, what other threat have we not burned?
Well, they will.
Which is like,
they're entering Captain Carter into this world, so that has to be. They've already shown the Watcher and Carter will be joining this match.
Oh boy,
so this is going to become canon. That version of Ultron will become canon to the MCU. So that fully means that world-breaking dynamic of the Infinity Stones working outside of their universe is going to be entered in here forcibly just by Captain Carter being present. She's witnessed both Killmonger and Ultron nearly obliterate the multiverse, trying to kick each other's ass with those things.
Here's the thing. You're not wrong, but I wanted to burst your bubble here, which is they've already canonized that What If stuff like hard. I know they all said, this is based in the MCU, but we never saw a hard link. Marvel is now publishing a series called TVA, which is based on the TVA from Loki. And they have come out and they're literally like, this is the MCU. This is them. The Carter you're seeing here, that's Captain Carter from What If. Like, this is them. So we officially... And I mean, now Spider-Gwen from the comics is now canon to the MCU. So they literally can do anything now.
No. Hey, it's me in HD. No, that would be Haley Atwell's neck and head up superimposed onto a man's body. So yeah, don't get it.
That'll be like post-training Kate Bishop, right?
No. Haley Atwell is Captain Carter.
Oh, I was thinking Haley Steinfeld. No, you're never mind. Yeah.
Too many
You're right. Yeah, too many Haleys.
The British one.
Too many Haleys and too many proclivities for Marvel to do that. Like, speaking of Taskmaster, I will never get over the fact that they did that. I don't know how many of you guys know who that actually was, but if you remember Casino Royale, the Bond girl from that movie, Olga Kurylenko, or I don't know how to say her last name, she's Taskmaster. And in that movie, in Casino Royale, not even just there, but like she is a gorgeous, beautiful woman. And then you go and you not only like scar up her face, then you put it in a helmet, and then you also say you don't get any lines. Like I almost feel like, did she sleep with somebody's like husband or something? Like how do you get that insulted? It's so bad.
Well,
and then it's only your head. We're only doing your head. How could I forget that? We're gonna put you on a male body.
Again, like, why do you sign that contract? What are you doing? See, like what kind of money do they pay these people?
Well, to me, I really do think a lot of this, they start at a good, or like the way they pitch it, or the way the initial ideas come out. I do think whatever they sell these actors on is always completely different from what they were probably thinking, right? So they go,
no, you're right. James Gunn said that. Remember, he said they film all these random things and then piece it together.
Oh, that's
so
right.
Absolutely right.
See, like, so I'm betting Olga got the contract, and yeah, it probably said your Taskmaster. She doesn't know what like gender swapping is, but she'll go, oh, cool. Like a super soldier who can like mimic powers or whatever and goes up against Black Widow, female versus female. I'm totally in for that. And then they go, yeah, by the way, that's how we presented it, but there have been some rewrites and you're going to be this mute, stupid, you know, whatever we got. And she could go, what? You didn't say that, but she's already signed the contract. And if you back out of it, you get heavily penalized, especially if you're announced already.
So what's this, Jacob? I love this. You got to remove it to add it feature now, StreamYard. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. I had an issue with that last night, but it's like, look,
you're right. Hey, it's me in HD. I'm sorry. I am misgendering. It's Task Mistress.
Oh, Task Ma'am.
Look,
that's who it is.
Task Ma'am. Task Ma'am.
Look, in the grand scheme of things, none of this matters. This is all stupid. This is all comic book stupidity at the end of the day. So the way that I see it, this should be the final scene in Secret Wars. This is what shit ended. They should be staring off with Sentry, and then all of a sudden, Titanus just comes out of the mountains out of nowhere. The guitar rip and everything, and it's just like, lock on and fire. It's like, do.
So
I feel
hold
like
on,
it's not that far
Spencer.
from happening. Yeah.
You remember Disney's getting distribution rights to Power
That's
Rangers.
exactly what I was thinking, dude.
That's only a hop, skip, and a jump from Doctor Whoing this.
Well,
so
think about it this way, Cider, right? Like we are.
Oh my God! Okay, stop, please. I need to. Can you imagine the final scene in Secret Wars is like a blown up like Robert Downey Jr. standing in like just like one of those like
miniature set.
A miniature set. He's like going through like little miniature buildings, destroying cardboard and stuff like this.
We ran out of budget.
Yeah, right. There's like a quick cut that says, "This is the part where we ran out of budget," and then there's this Robert Downey Jr. tearing apart a Power Rangers Megazord scene and stuff like that. And Captain America's piloting the Megazord inside of it. Not this time, Tony.
That's how you get Marvel their first real, genuine Academy Award. I'm telling you right now. But no, like
Godzilla will never see it coming.
Never. And then that's where you get the next crossover movie. Godzilla minus plus Power Rangers.
Minus plus. There we go.
That like to your like we were talking about this when we got to the topic of the MCU, but like what are they at this point? What do they advertise on? We see that they're doing it all on Cameos. To that point, I'm not unconvinced we're not going to get cheeky like, hey, look, do you remember this property we also technically own that can fit narratively into this, right? Because what did we have in Endgame? We had the moment of, here are all the Avengers, they're here. You can do that again, but you've sort of already gotten that hype. Knowing Marvel and knowing how, like we've seen them, they go, oh, we're doing terribly. What we got to copy something to recreate that success. That's exactly what they did with Brave New World and copying off of Winter Soldier. So they'll go, how do we get the people hype? How do we recreate that? Because they're that dumb. They think that you can just make that moment happen again. And they'll go, why don't we have the Rocketeer show up? Why don't we have, the Red Ranger? Maybe he's in the background of a scene. And then after the movie comes out, then you get a lot of those articles that are like, did you notice these cameos in the film? And then that gets more people to go watch it either again or for the first time or yada, yada, yada. So I can see something stupid, cheeky. Like at the very least, we're going to get a really insulting depiction of Japanese Spider-Man. I know that for a fact because he already does get disrespected. Literally, I forgot about the scene until like a couple days ago when I randomly stumbled across the page during one of the like last Spider-Verse events. He's like Tatsuya shows up with Leopardon and they're fighting and
that's
like,
right. Yes.
Yeah. And this actually might be the first Spider-Verse, but either way, I think it's like Morlun rips off like Leopardon's arm and he's like thrashing it. And Tatsuya's like, he's so strong. I can't, like, we've never been up against an enemy like that, which, okay, little weird, but I can, as long as you roll with that, with Morlun being that powerful, I'm cool. But then Miles Morales is like, oh, I have the Captain Universe power right now. I'm going to pick up Sword Vigor and I'm going to slash Morlun and I'm going to win. And I'm just like, really? It had to be Miles. You couldn't even do us the favor of making it Peter. Like, get out of my face. But yeah, like Miles is a better Japanese Spider-Man than Japanese Spider-Man. And that's what they'll reinforce.
They really have no idea where to put that kid.
They need to just let him go. I don't know who give him to Eric July at this point, man. Like
let's
any
be
other
honest,
company.
This entire MCU is basically Maria Shriver at this point. They're trying to find some kind of way to keep this thing alive. It's like, let it go. It's over.
And it's like the one or two times we get like a good episode of something like Daredevil Born Again, that's like Patrick Schwarzenegger, where it's like, okay, yes, you were good in that movie, but also shut up. I don't want to hear about your Nepo baby defense. Like, just shut up and act.
So AI has absolutely wrapped this up completely. I only typed in Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom, and it's already generating the Doom bots I was talking about earlier in the background. So AI is already on it.
And that one's like not even as like messed up as the old ones. You know what I mean? Like, you used to be able to tell, like, oh, there's his cheekbone going like out to the side really hard or whatever, or like his lip is.
He just looks really tired.
Thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he is. He doesn't want to.
He needs a nappy poo.
I'm like 90% sure that everybody who is returning for this movie does not actually want to return for this movie. Yeah. Like they either have something on them via, take your pick. Is it the demon worshiping? Is it the Diddy parties? Like, whatever. They got something there. Or they just went, do you want $7 billion? And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I would do it. If you went, you're gonna like, can you be in a terrible movie, but we'll give you $1 billion? I would go, all right, like, sure.
And we're just gonna
give up my butthole. That's great.
Right. That's the amount of effort I'm putting in here.
That ear looks like an oyster.
But, they need to have that's the new Avengers logo.
Oh boy. The thing that we're gonna keep seeing with this though is that the Doctor Doom angle with Downey, as you said, is going to be downplayed. He's not going to be shot for shot. He'll be Thanos throughout the movie. This spooky guy, and we'll all know it's Robert Downey Jr. So they're not going to try and keep him a secret. They're not going to like hide his face and things like that. They're going to show us Robert Downey Jr. agonizing over a portal. You remember Draken, how he had all those different Power Rangers and like the glowy fart gas around him?
Oh, yeah.
It'll be like that, but he's like looking into a cauldron because he's Dr. Doom and he's got to do the Lithuanian witch thing. So he's staring into the green cauldron of bubbling Kool-Aid, and
oh my God,
it shows him what he missed out on and how he could have been different, and they all end up in chaos anyway, and that sort of thing. So, and he's driven to do all this, and that's what they're going to do, is they're going to show like a green underlit Robert Downey Jr. for the trailer, where he's expressing like, I have to change the world. They could have been gods, that kind of thing. Like Draken was talking.
Yeah.
And then he'll walk out. They'll probably, I wonder, will they do a shot-for-shot remake of the Draken trailer? Because if you think about it, if you reframe that with Dr. Doom, it's what they've told us he's gonna do. So him walking out on a balcony and raising his arms up as all these Doom bots start flying into the air.
Here's what makes me, I see this, and this is what convinces me personally that that's what they're gonna do is, so there is an equivalent to the Draken plot line and like the Secret Wars plot line in the comics, right? Like alternate universe, and you see like different versions of yourself, and it's like, oh, that's what could have been, and then you clash, and then it all melds together, blah 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 blah. The thing with Marvel, again, they are lazy and they're not clever. So instead of thinking, how do we, they either aren't going to think of it at all, or they've already recognized that the ship to really build up what made Secret Wars matter has already sailed, right? Like they've already spent phases 5 and 6 completely screwing the pooch. So you can't do that, or let me rephrase that. They think that they can't do the original comic book story, even in a truncated form. So they're going to go, what are some other sort of stories that do it like that? And I'm sure somebody along the line will go, hey, I read this thing about, like, in the Power Ranger series, or maybe not that direct, just somewhere along the line. I know that's going to make it's going to pop up into the discussions, and then they're going to go, oh, that's a great idea. So we will be sitting there going, this is just Draken, right? Like we'll see. Well, you know what's going to happen, Cider? They're going to have Doom bots, but then they're going to have Latvarian soldiers who have,
Iron Man armor. Or like they have their own version of like Thor's hammer, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like, right? Like it's going to be my God, I just realized he'll kill Odin and take Odin's power.
Well, they've already got in the comics, that's what Doom did. He was like, my enforcers are going to be the Thor Corps, remember? And so that he had all those Thors. So they've already got that blueprint. They can just straight go the Power Rangers route and go, oh yeah, that's the Thor Corps. They have all these hammers.
Guess what?
That's the Captain Corps or whatever. Like, it's
The
right
Thor
there.
Corps can be led by a woman. And you know who that's going to be? It's going to be Natalie Portman. And she's going to be evil Thunder Thighs. That's what I called She-Thor, was Thunder Thighs. So
I only disagree with that because she don't got it. Like, she is a twig. Like, Thunder Thigh's good. She ain't got that. That movie is so embarrassing. I saw this thing on Twitter the other day where somebody shared a clip from the movie, and it's Valkyrie and Natalie Portman getting ready to like go to their mission or whatever, and they're like, I've got this, like got your weapons? Yep. Got your whatever? Like, yep. Like, what's that? Bluetooth speaker. Always take it everywhere. And somebody was like, why is everything in this movie like a credit card commercial? And I just went, oh man, that is what like the MCU is filmed like nowadays. It is just a credit card commercial.
Capital One.
Quip back and forth, and then a shot of them like walking away so you can flash that Capital One logo up, right?
Yep. Now, Spence, Jacob, you created something here?
Yeah, this is basically how Secret Wars is going to end. There's Dr. Doom in a mecha power suit fighting off with the Power Rangers, and you even have the logo there. And that's something I made with zero effort in 5 seconds. It's going to be better
Just like
than anything
the
you
writers.
see in a $600 million movie.
Mm-hmm. We had Leslie Tarkin ask, like, who would you think would play Iron Man if RDJ doesn't want to play him anymore? Sassy black woman. We were getting that with Ironheart.
Oh, yeah,
there'll
that's
be
right.
no more Iron Man.
Well,
There will be
yeah,
Ironheart.
Ironheart will come in and replace Iron Man at this point.
They can't have
Yep, and the Disney Plus show is already in the can.
Yep.
And like that, I can already see how they'll pull it off, guys, because they'll use the excuse of, oh, we're honoring Tony Stark again. We're honoring RDJ. Like, this is actually his ending. So they don't want to re-stomp over his legacy with a Tony again or something. Or like Dr. Doom he'll be, so in the Secret Wars comics, what happens is Doom and Reed end up fighting, and the universe starts resetting, and the Black Panther grabs the Infinity Gauntlet and makes one last like hoping wish, and that brings everything back. Like he's one of the only people who remembers. He just restored the world. So oh gosh, what was I saying about that? Yeah, no, obviously nothing. Oh, right. So yeah, they'll just go the RDJ RDJ Doom will somehow either get like the gauntlet or the cube or something, and he'll recreate the universe instead of Black Panther, but he'll do the thing, to your point, Cider, he'll do the stupid thing where it's like, oh, we're all back. Like, where's Doom? And he like took himself out of like he didn't restore himself because he knew that's the real heroic act or whatever, right? And you can't have a world with a Tony Stark, and so they do that, and then that's where Riri comes in or something. Like it's a little messy, but I think everybody can see like the basic roadmap I'm playing out there, right? Like I can see that.
And that's what it is they're not gonna undo Robert Downey Jr.'s sacrifice as Iron Man, because Iron Man's the lead character of the MCU, is the first. So they're not gonna bring in. That's probably why they didn't bring in Tom Cruise for the convergence scene,
which would have been so cool.
Yeah, the superior Iron Man. They did not bring him in for that because they had a feeling that would compete with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. The problem with replacing that's why you won't see an Iron Man in Secret Wars that isn't a villain. There will not be a good Iron Man in there. It would be Ironheart has to defeat all of these Armor Wars style. They'll like jam Armor Wars into the middle of this. And so you'll have Rhodey in there with her, showing her the ropes and talking about how the white oppressor had like made this all so impossible.
To that point, I like just to quickly interrupt. I just realized you're gonna have both her and Peter, right? Like on the Avengers, like Spider-Man on the Avengers or whatever they call themselves in these movies. And I guarantee you, Cider, there's going to be some sort of stupid like attempted emotional beat where Peter and Ironheart, like they confront the, they go through like three different Riri, Ironheart's REE, but they go through all these universes or whatever. They fight like one or two or three evil Iron Men like you're talking about. then they'll have the moment where like they've escaped, they're regrouping, cut over to those two sort of sitting by themselves and they're talking, and they have that sort of like, why are you so like, you know, upset or whatever? Like, that's Tony. That was the guy I was like looking up to. And it's like, yeah, that was the guy I was looking up to too. Like, they'll connect there. And then at some point, in some way, Peter will end the movie by going like, here's the like, you are the real Tony Stark. Like, not me. This isn't for me or whatever. Like, you are really what he would have wanted. I know that. And that's how they'll do all of that fun
the
stuff.
biggest problem is that everything we saw out of the previews when they were showing off this series, when they were showing it off, Riri doesn't like Stark. She's stealing all the tech. She's reverse engineering it by brute forcing stuff that she stole. And then their whole crux of the climax of the movie apparently is robbing the lab that has the final pieces of tech that she needs.
That's a good point. So I will edit my description, and it's not, well, Peter feels bad about it. Riri is going to have the like, I told you, like, that's the confirmation. At their core, Iron Men are always, you know, privileged evil white men or something like that. And then they'll have their, you know, like Peter will try to defend him. They'll have their little connection, and then blah, some way, somehow they'll go.
There's one thing they haven't fucked up with Spider-Man is hero worship. Spider-Man always has it for the older heroes. He always looks up to them, fanboy. So that's what they're going to do with Riri. She's going to be the anti-fanboy, and she's going to constantly remind Peter that he's got hero syndrome. He's a hero simp. You know,
dude,
you worship heroes. You shouldn't do that. You're a hero yourself. Tony was just like in your shadow. She's just going to shit on Tony the whole time. And that forced Peter to go back and say like, yeah, this patriarch figure that I had was wrong all along. Aunt May was the real hero. That'll be the end of Dad, Tony.
Like, I really don't even think it's going to go to Aunt May. Like, it's going to just be like, oh, it's going to be the fantasy version of what they all like the neo-libs do on social media all the time. It's going to be like, Tony Stark bad, Tony Stark good. No, Tony Stark actually bad. Wow, you are right. Tony Stark is actually bad. If I keep this, I'm just going to be perpetuating his legacy. Again, here's the glasses. Like, now you are the, you know, smart, black, diverse, you know, whatever, to lead his to change his legacy, right? Like, that's what it's going to be, to take it into a new form or whatever the heck it is.
You don't have to repeat his mistakes, Pete. You don't have to, you know.
4,000. Oh my God. Dude, that's how he's going to get convinced to like give up the glasses too. Oh my, like, right? Like,
all of it's a mess.
You don't have to repeat his mistake. Like, it, oh my, we like, that's the thing, right, guys? We can all see how this is going to play. There's not going to be any surprises here. There's going to be like one or two. I'm sure they'll have some crazy cameo that they are not announcing. They're pretty good about that. Like, even at least on my end, I've managed to make it into like I got into Deadpool and Wolverine without actually knowing who Deadpool and Wolverine were going to like meet in the void. Right. That's sort of where I'm curious. Like, I scratch my head over this method of let's show everything. Like how to playing devil's advocate. I'm sure Marvel went, let's do this announcement of everybody who's going to be here, reveal the X-Men, all that, because we know, I mean, we cover it here. The leaks happen all the time. So that like, they're probably like, oh, it's going to happen anyway. Why not just get it out of the way? So then we don't have to worry about that. But I pause it back. Like, this is Endgame, or not Endgame. This is Doomsday. This is Secret Wars. You have the entire multiverse to play with. You can basically just throw out any character. This is the movie where you say a rumor, people will go, maybe. Who the frick knows? It could be anybody at this point, right? And so it's just like, I think they should have just kept doing this like normal and not given away everything in the trailers, because I think there are ways to get around that.
And now we have some live footage of Robert Downey Jr. collecting his payment for.
This is what I mean, right? Like, get your bag, take these.
Yeah, get your dump truck,
dude. Take these multi-million like collapsing corporations for a ride. The movie's gonna be bad. Can I really be mad at RDJ? No, because he's gonna buy planet Earth with this amount of money at this point, right? Like, he's in charge of Reedy Creek. They're gonna reestablish it just for him.
Well,
Robert Creek.
And speaking, we've been talking about Power Rangers through a lot of our conversation this evening, and We do have an update from Sakuramita. Sakuramita went around and found this information for us. We really appreciate that.
All right. I'm going to go grab some water, but I've got my headphones. I'll be right back. So
sure.
I'm listening.
This comes from Super Jin. Now, Super Jin has been covering the in and outs of what's been going on with the Power Ranger stuff. This person had information about the reboot. We were talking about that last week. Now we have information about the Netflix multiverse that they were trying to create. So Jonathan Entwistle was the front man for this. He was the Feige for this Netflix Power Rangers multiverse thing that they were trying to do. And so this is just a setup of what this has to say here. And so it says, it's funny that Jonathan Entwistle was the one who even came to Hasbro, who came to Hasbro in the first place and pitched his whole universe to them. And it just became 5 years of back and forth on Entwistle wanting to finally make it and get it off the ground. But Hasbro being the one to push back and constantly give him excuses on why it can't be made at the time. He wanted to make it and worked on it for years, even when Hasbro told him to change his film to a series. Hasbro played Hasbro played in his face until the contract ran out. Netflix seen the bullshit and left with Entwistle. So now we have this whole thing. So apparently this is part of an interview from the Legacy of Nerd. And so now we understand how this all came to be, why it slid over to Disney Plus, why Netflix jumped out. As usual, Hasbro's a problem, and I'm not sharing any of it. Damn it. I hate this. It's stupid.
I thought you were doing a nice lead-in.
Nope. This is what it is right here. I read the whole thing. I'm sorry. So this is the whole thing.
It's perfect.
This is Jonathan Entwistle over there on the right. Obviously, he's not a Power Ranger. But he was hired by the collaboration between Netflix and
I mean,
Hasbro.
technically, he's younger than Billy is, so he could still be a Power Ranger.
Yeah, there's still time, apparently. But especially if you're gay. But they tend to make a whole special about that. But
or black, or a woman.
Or a combination of all that. There
or
you
all
go.
of it. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So what happened is that Hasbro announced that they were going to do this full reboot of the Power Rangers series back in 2017. This is a huge thing, big announcement. Netflix got on board. This guy, Jonathan Entwistle, that had some background in Buffy-esque stories came through. I don't know exactly what it was.
Like his biggest claim to fame is this show called like The End of the Fucking World. And it's just it's like a weird, quirky sort of like, I don't even like in the style of like 13 Reasons Why or You, like it's a darker tone thing, even though it's not that heavy, but that's kind of where he's coming from, right? That very extra CW style of writing and direction. Like the really let's focus on the 40 minutes to a scene of somebody deciding are they going to send that text message to somebody or not.
So yeah. Kind of like that melodrama, personal conflict kind of situation is what he worked with. And as you know, coming off of the 2017 movie and the sale of it to Hasbro immediately, they wanted to kind of keep on with this more adult pitched Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And so they this is a graphic that Sakuramita shared with us to kind of illustrate what happened here. So the problem is that they wanted to do a lot of things with Power Rangers, and none of them were good ideas. I don't know the details of Entwistle's situation. I did not get through the video that broke it down. I'll make sure that there's a link in the description for those of you watching after the stream to find that video to find out more about it. But from what I gather through this graphic is that Bennett was not brave enough to go the route that Entwistle and Michael Bay were willing to go. So I am anxious to find out now if Michael Bay turned down Power Rangers to do Skibbity Toilet, the multiverse. So
and you know what?
I'm interested to find out.
Considering where like both of those franchises are, I wouldn't blame him. Like legitimately, he's probably like, oh yeah, people will want to go watch that movie. I don't have to cover Mighty Morphin again. I bet you Michael Bay watched it when he was a kid, like not a kid, but a a teenager,
Stoned
probably
college student.
Yeah, or that's I was thinking that. I was thinking either like a late teenager or a college student. He's totally like, this is rad, man. I mean, I would watch a Michael Bay Power Rangers thing. That almost seems like that's exactly what it's built for, except for the action stuff. Yes. Get somebody else to write like the dialogue parts, because as Cider has, recounted to all of you out there over these past few months and weeks and all that fun stuff, there's some really good, serious, like deep introspective writing in these, Sentai shows, or sometimes Power Rangers, but mostly like Sentai or Kamen Rider. So you need somebody who can handle that well. You can't have like, bro, pass me a beer. Oh, snap. I just got a text. We got to suit up, right? Like you can't have that one, unfortunately.
Morphin time.
Like that's a cool. Promote the movie by doing like rehiring College Humor. I don't even know if they exist anymore. Bring them all back for like one video. Have them do that video. That would be incredible. And then
Well, so Timon brings up this good point, is that Hollywood doesn't understand Tokusatsu. So whatever they do is going to be a very watered down version of people wearing helmets and spandex saving the day. For whatever reason, Western creators cannot take the idea of a person simply clad in spandex and a helmet doing anything other than getting killed. So they have to, like we saw this in the Power Rangers movie in 1995. Hollywood did not like these pure spandex. They wanted to armor them up like hockey players. So they had like this battle armor thing in the movie, and with all these different modes and things. So it was much more tactical in what its approach was, whereas what we were presented with in the Mighty Morphin television series was magic. A space wizard who has a floating head created these suits, and you're like, okay, that's why they look like pajamas.
That's why they can survive like a shot from like a laser cannon, right? Like magic suit. Yeah, everybody.
And then Hollywood came in and they were like, we got to science this up. This makes no sense. How do they survive? What's with the sparks?
To your point, it's that insecurity we see from all of these. You and I talk about it, and I know Nerdigans talks about it a lot too, but like in the West, things like comic books or animation or video games, they're still unfortunately seen as like weird kitty baby things, right? To your point. So they overcomplicate things. They're so insecure of going like, oh man, is somebody going to look at these Power Rangers and go like, it's just magic. It just happens. That's so stupid. We've got to explain everything. We've got to make it make sense. And when you do that, it takes the magic away and it starts making everything just seem sort of lame, because then, Cider, you have to make the suit work to that logic. So now it's like, oh, can they have magical, like mystical transformations? No, now we have to have like 3 episodes of them going on a side quest to find a magic item that they can clip onto the belt that lets them transform. And it's just like, we aren't as insecure as you guys. Like we know what this is and we know what it's trying to do. That's the thing, right? Is most people know whether, like, if you're going into a chick flick, or if you're going into an action movie, or you're going to watch Tokusatsu, or you're going to play like a first-person shooter, you know what you're getting into. Nobody walks into like a Call of Duty game and goes, "Where's the farming simulator? I can't believe this." So it's just like, lean into it. This is what we like. We know that you're not fooling anybody.
Right. Well, again, like the problem is that we saw this in the 2017 movie. That was not a morph sequence. That was a little more techno version of the Venom symbiote.
Wasn't that like all of them like standing in a circle too? And they're just like, what? And it's just like, yeah, right. Venom symbioting up on.
Right. And from then on, it just transformed onto them. They didn't really have any transformation sequence per se. And so again, it loses what the goal is. When people look at this franchise, they get stuck on the spandex, they get stuck on the giant robots, they get stuck on the kung fu. And I've always been a lore hound. While that's nice, neat stuff, kind of fun, the lore behind the Power Rangers, the original Saban run at least, and then some of the Disney stuff, definitely not Neo Saban and Hasbro.
No. Yeah.
The stuff like before 2010 really was pretty solid.
What's that one like
entries.
before like Wild Force, right? Like that was the one that started getting bad. It's one of those beast more.
Wild Force was the.
It's like animal.
Wild
one,
Force
right?
was Wild Force was the last one for Saban. It was pretty dry. That's
right.
Pretty
there
dry.
we go. Yeah.
It's pretty rough. Pretty rough getting through that one. But
well, I remember it being rough, but then I always laugh because when obviously I follow you on social media, I see you engaging with people, and you're always like, no, that's where it started going downhill. And I'm like, it's true. And I hope he keeps beating that drum, because that's exactly where it happened.
Ninja Storm did a great job. They came through and they really reinvigorated what it was to be a Power Ranger. We weren't getting that and the bell ringing all the time anymore, because Saban had just done that. That it was a Power Ranger show because a bell rang, you know, and that was in all of them. And then all of a sudden they come through with this hot skater tune, and you see the Red Ranger doing like one of those Tony Hawk 900
Radical,
yeah, you know. And you got a surfer babe, and she's the Blue Ranger this time. And the Yellow Ranger's some dumb guy that likes playing basketball. And they're just cool people. And it's da-na-na-na. So it's all this high energy, positivity energy. Whereas the previous entries were like, it's war. This is a war for the universe, and you, 12-year-old Jimmy, you have to fight it now.
Well, like even well, like to your point, SPD, right? Like when that starts out, Izzy, like she's a thief. Like that's why she gets recruited into SPD. It's sort of like a work release thing, right? Like, okay, yeah, you're bad, but we have it. Here's a chance for you to redeem yourself. That's a character, right? And as we see her over time in the series, she grows, she becomes like a Power Ranger to the point where she's like second, maybe not like in actual like rank, but she's like the secondary leader of the team, if you will, right? Like everybody looks up to her. Everybody's like, yeah, exactly. And so you go now, then you go forward and you go to the characters you're describing, where it's like, what are they? It's a beach babe. It's a jock guy. All you're getting there is like commercial, like it's the Burger King Kids Club. There's no depth to it. It's just like, there's the generic archetypes. They're partying. They could get 2 Big Macs for the price of 1 this summer, right? Like it's just, there's nothing to engage there.
Well, and as Richard pointed out, the writing hasn't changed in as far as education goes. The corporations themselves don't want to take risks anymore. And so, as we're pointing out here, like Ender's Game vibe, are we getting movies like that these days? No. Visually, you will get Ender's Game. No problem.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
But the philosophy, even in Ender's Game, the movie, was completely goofed.
Oh,
and
dude,
so
it is not even. That's one of the weirder. Nobody really talks about that one when we talk about like adaptations, because it visually wasn't that like off base. But yeah, that movie, I got to like the halfway point and I'm like, wait, is this really based on the book? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. And it diverts into a very strange concept, and it doesn't get back to the original philosophy until like the last 5 seconds of footage.
And then they're like, we're gonna have sequels, and then that never happened.
No, you're not. And so that's the problem with this, is that it took a look at that. I have a feeling the Ender's Game really influenced 2017 Power Rangers. I really believe that movie definitely influenced it.
I mean, obviously you've got like the younger kid teenage angle, right? With Ender being in that academy or whatever. But then you've also got visually, when I think about that, when he's like directing the fleet, right? Like in the simulation, that all looks very similar to the like swarmy thing they do for the suits in Power Rangers. And then look to that like big section in the middle where they have the whatever sports competition. Remember, like it's the 2 teams and they're like floating. It's like soccer, but in 0G, right? Like they put on special suits and they have to, and they even float, and they've got like the inner lights. I can see
the CGI really.
Yeah, dude.
Particular style of CGI really.
Yeah.
The other thing is the writing is very similar. Zordon is not like a person that has any type of like redeemable quality. He is a guy that like, I fucked up and I keep fucking up and I'm going to keep fucking up. You can't stop me from fucking up.
Yeah, right. Like that's what I want to do. Let me out.
Yeah. Why'd you put me in a wall? I wanted to die. Like, oh, okay. It's that kind of movie. All right. You know, this is the mentor to our teenagers. Kill me now. Why did you let me live? You know, like
this is the same guy who, remember in the 95 movie, like he starts dying and they're all crying, like they love him. And this one's just like, man, screw you guys. Like, get out of my face.
I hate all of you. You know, he's just Bryan Cranston. It's all they
Why did you get me 5 teenagers with attitude instead of 5 hot blondes with big bazooms?
They got him on a Skype call, and they were like, "We're just gonna move this webcam footage over. All right, man. Don't try too hard."
No, honestly.
So they're like, okay, he's like, so what's my motivation? Like, okay, so you've been resurrected from the dead after 65 million years, and you are trapped inside of a wall that looks like that thing that you press your hand into, and the like needles come out the
And
other
you
side.
want to be there.
And they're like, action. He's like,
oh, I forgot about that stupid,
Yeah.
like needle point face thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie's such
It's
a
so
disaster.
dumb. It's so dumb. But that's again, like that's speaking of dumb movies. Like we dodged a bullet here. Obviously, the collaboration between what Entwistle wanted to do with Power Rangers and what Hasbro wanted to do was definitely going to be a disaster.
Oh yeah.
So,
but
here's what
also,
we're-
I just before you give the preview of what we're gonna get, to Richard's point, like yes, there are still like creative people out there, and yes, you know, there is a big risk aversion in Hollywood now. But to what Cider is sort of saying, the philosophy of not just like the show, but of our cultural like writings and stuff have changed, right? Like we don't get as much as we want to say like there are the people out there who are capable of writing it, they're not the ones who are going to be able to get the jobs. It's going to be the people who agree with all their politics, the ones who want to position Zordon as, you know, I failed, all I can do is fail, blah 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 blah. Like there's unfortunately been just like a cultural shift that we're fighting against, and we're making progress, but we're not there yet.
And to that effect, there are people that wrote Snow White. So I mean, quite obviously, they're out there.
Look, I didn't watch this movie. I knew better than that. Jacob, did you actually watch it? I genuinely do not know if you watched it.
I haven't mustered the energy to watch it yet.
Did Nerdigans watch it?
No, I did not watch it. First of all, I'm poor, and second of all, I'm
So
too lazy to pirate it.
we're a representation of why this film made such a little bit of money over the last. I think it's at what was the latest update on this box office wise? I think it just crossed 90 million worldwide, and it's been out for almost a full week now.
It has passed, 90 million worldwide as of right now on the numbers, which is as close as a two official we can get.
Yeah, and as it says, overwhelming dislike. It apparently beat Dragon Ball Evolution
as like the most disliked rated movie on IMDb. This is to Richard's point, like this is a movie. There's so many things that went wrong with this movie. Don't let Disney try to, you know, right now they're trying to make the narrative that, oh, the movie failed because of Rachel Zegler's politics, which yes, I'm sure that had an effect, and we can debate all about the Israel-Palestine. Well, we don't want to because it's whatever, but like that's a whole separate conversation. But a movie doesn't fail this bad unless everybody collectively goes, oh, this sucks, right?
Like, put it to you this way. They can blame her. Sure, she definitely played a major role in it, but at the end of the day, who hired her in the first place?
Right,
That would be
exactly. You guys did that. You guys said, you know, go off. You hired her, let her off the leash, like you let her off the chain. You didn't put any of those restrictions in her contract. That's on you guys. You can't.
Here's the
dump this
thing:
off on us.
you hired this Gianta because in your mind you're going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to get all those people who are going to make comments about her not being white. We'll call them racist and phobes, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden she went free Palestine. Everyone's like, oh no.
right. Like I guarantee you to that point, like all that stuff that she was saying about like, oh, it's outdated. The prince is creepy. I guarantee you guys that was a line Disney was supporting. At that point, they were like, yes, that is sort of the pitch we're making for this version of Snow White. I mean, we've seen it with every one of the remakes beforehand, right? One of the jokes, I know I've joked about this with Jacob before, but all these new remakes, one of the only changes they ever make is they always add one song, and it's a random ass like girl power, girl boss, I'm the strongest song. The funniest one
just
is
a girl.
That's a better one. That is a way better song. And oh wait, I know what you're referencing now. Never mind. That is not a better use of that.
I don't always knew I'd be your ex-girlfriend.
Can't listen to that anymore. Just can't do it
without seeing that.
It hurts.
But
because now I'm the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, right. I am the ex-girlfriend. But I don't even remember what I was saying. Her politics suck. Oh, what really, really, you know, Disney said this is the line we want. All the past films did that. what I was saying about Aladdin is like, that's the funniest one where they add a girl boss song, because they do it twice for Naomi Campbell, and she's Jasmine, and she's like, I won't do what you're telling me. Like, I'm my own woman. But she sings the song in her head at these moments when like her dad's like, oh, you're going to go do this. And then when she cuts back into reality, she just goes and does it anyway. Like the song, it's so funny and bad in how they try to execute this. But the line, that line of like, oh, the old movie is bad, blah, 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 that backfired probably more than anything for them. Because like I grew up, or I at least went to high school in the like northern suburbs of San Diego, right? Like San Marcos, you know what I'm talking about, Jacob. And there's a lot of, you know, your basic white people who live around that area, especially basic white women. That you would think that would be still, even if it's, you know, they're race swapping, they don't care. They're, you know, oh, princess movie, let's go take our kids, let's go do that. I have never seen my entire, like all of the like blonde white women I knew were just like, this, how, like, why would you trash this movie? Like, how dare you? Like, we love this movie. And not just the blonde white women, the Mexican women, like everybody, like women loved this. And then they go, no, it's all creepy and bad. And that was what sunk them, I think, because I genuinely had real life conversations with people going like, have you heard about this? That the actress said, I don't agree with that. And I'm just like, oh, you guys really stepped in it now.
Oh, but
I'll say this.
hold on.
I'll just say this just real quick. San Marcos, for those of you guys who have never been to San Diego, San Marcos is what people who live in North County consider the ghetto to be, because they've never actually been anywhere remotely near.
Oh, I know.
Ghetto.
oh, trust me, they thought they were really tough, but I moved up from Spring Valley, and I was like, you guys are all weenies.
But what I was gonna say is that something that I have seen are the dwarves. That's what it's generally hated about this movie, is the dwarves, how they use the really crappy CGI on him. And also the dwarves are creepy as fuck too. Oh my God, they're so creepy.
mean, ultimately, this is a film that managed to piss off everyone. Everyone you could possibly think of had a reason to not like this film. It really didn't matter where on the political spectrum you line on. Everyone had their own specific reason to not watch this movie. And guess what? No one watched this movie. And now you guys are looking at what, a $300 million loss?
At
least. Like, yeah, like if that, because I feel like this is another one of those Brave New World situations, right? Where we know they had to reshoot large parts of this movie. Again, how are they fudging it? I'm sure it's more than 300. It's probably closer to 4, knowing their budgeting lately. Like, this is just, even if you ignore Zegler and the politics, like, I think it's just people know these movies suck nowadays, right? Like, if nobody,
you would hope by now they're starting to figure it out,
right? I know, like a lot of people. I'm probably being hopeful. You're right, Jacob, but like I do know that more and more people are recognizing like a live action adaptation. Okay, what's the point of that?
They're just waiting for that one guy in the back to go, hey, yo, this shit ass.
They really kind of are. We do need that like one moment where it like breaks the illusion for Disney. Just somebody needs to stand up at like a stockholders meeting and do that or something, because
they did.
Doing
Perlmutter came through, remember?
That's true, but then it became oh, it's corporate, blah, 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 blah. I just need like one dude who really, maybe he has like $5 worth of stock. He just goes to a meeting like, you suck.
You need Charleston White. That's who you need. You need Charleston White to show up and just drop a hard R in the middle of that meeting and be like, fuck this hard R shit. I'm out. And
I'm out of here.
Dead silence in that call.
Yeah, right? Like, and then you would just get like the disconnected dial tone, the beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, even though that's not how it works anymore.
The number that you are called is no longer in service.
Even though it's not digital, or now that
the
we're
black
all digital,
man you are trying to reach is pissed off at you at the moment. Please call back. Never.
Well, you know what's crazy is if you look at the Metacritic critic scores, like I was surprised to see the Daily Beast rate it so low, and also the New York Times, the Guardian like went in. They gave it a 20 out of 100. Like I was kind of surprised that liberal, like extremely liberal publications were hating on this movie.
I'm not surprised because, like I said, they all hate Gal Gadot. So
Yeah, I mean,
there's a reason for it.
if you notice a lot of the reviews, Nerdigans, it's this movie sucks, all of it sucks, but at least Rachel Zegler was good. And it's
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
what I've seen too. Yeah.
I don't know about that, guys. I think this is where you're letting, like Jacob's saying, your biases.
I ain't
go
doing
through.
this. This is Jacob. I don't have no Gal Gadot video
Like I
on
said,
my hard drive.
people on the right end of the spectrum hate Rachel Zegler. People on the left end of the spectrum hate Gal Gadot, and they're your two lead stars. So this was not going to win over anyone.
You hate Gal Gadot because of the weird Israeli-Palestine bullshit. I hate Gal Gadot because she can't act, and she keeps like getting roles, and we need to stop pretending she can act.
Hey, at least she has Fast and Furious 11 to fall back on.
Oh, that's right. That thing is still happening.
Yeah, and they brought her back from the dead. Even though she super died in one of those movies, she's alive now too.
Is this like some COVID mental breakdown, stress-induced mental?
No,
break?
so
What's happening?
this is about
Imagine?
8 years. This is about 8 years before the Imagine Cringe video. It's just her in her underwear singing a song that I can't play because it's copyright protected. But this is basically her, doing.
Do we need audio?
Not really. I mean, not
We could
particularly.
just 24/7
Probably for the best.
Yeah. And again, like, why are the views going down? What's wrong with you guys?
Is this not? Are you not entertained? Because we are.
I mean, like, come on, like. Oh no, I know why the views are going down. Never mind. But
what are you guys, pro wrestling fans?
Yeah, right. What are you, pro wrestling fans? But so I just
the artists are leaving.
You gotta remember, she's like over 6 feet tall.
She's like 5'10" or 5'11".
Oh, she's 5. Well, Jacob, come on. I've dated tall girls. There's a lot of 6'2" girls that go around saying they're 5'11". Okay, I've been around the block.
They?
All right,
hit me up.
Oh, this was one video. It wasn't a loop. It was just,
it was one full. It's like a full 2-minute 50-second video.
That's how people used to do social media. They used to just record like long ass videos and let it go.
This is so weird. It kind of feels like a hostage video. Like, you're gonna do this, or you're gonna get hurt. I don't understand.
Yeah, no, it feels like a trying.
You want to be Wonder Woman, don't you?
So
right,
yeah, right. So this is like this is like what we made her do in order to be Wonder Woman. But I have to like point out she's over 6 feet. I've dated tall women, okay? So like when you see her spreading her arms out doing that, that's a good 10 feet. Okay, that's like a good 2/3 of the room she's in.
She got a little bit of a wingspan to her.
Yeah, right. Like that's you put like one of those wing costumes on. She'd probably take flight. That's that lady. But yeah, no, this is bizarre. I mean, dude. I'm disturbed and intrigued and aroused at the same time. It's very
aroused.
bizarre.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Like my thing with Gal Gadot, it's like I don't think she's ugly, but like, especially like earlier on in her career, she was just way too small for my liking. It's like I feel like I can literally like wrap my entire fist around like her bicep. Even
when she was Wonder Woman, she was like really tiny, and that was like
my problem.
Yeah, it's like at least get some definition.
There are so many female bodybuilders that are actors that do. We've seen this in Tokusatsu. There's so many female bodybuilders that could have handled Wonder Woman. Really, I'm not a big fan of Ronda Rousey's politics and her personality, but her being She-Thor,
right.
well, her being She-Thor probably would have worked out okay.
For wrestling.
Well, you know what I mean. Because physically she would have matched up.
Yeah. Her being a She-Thor would have been better than that.
I don't know a tall, dark-haired woman in bodybuilding because I'm not that guy. That's not my space. I don't pursue female bodybuilders. I like tall women, but I don't pursue
muscle mommy
types. I don't do that. I just have a tall lady thing.
There's like muscle mommy, and then there's like the like competition, like lifters. You know what I mean? Like that's where.
I don't go there either.
Wild.
It's not my name.
There's muscle mommy, and then there's you're just on steroids. Like aggressively on steroids.
So I'm not familiar with.
They're just plates.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with who would have been a good Wonder Woman as far as physique goes and height, but I always think of Lucy Lawless, Xena. When I think of who would have been a great Wonder Woman, 90s Xena would have nailed it.
before menopause, obviously. But,
well, you know, but that's what I mean is that like Lucy
Now
Lawless
she can play
had that.
Hippolyta. Yeah.
Well, Lucy had like the appropriate body build for it. Like even Linda Carter was a little too twiggy.
I actually agree. I like her as that, and I think she visually looks really good. But I do agree, like a little twiggy for what Wonder Woman should technically be.
Correct. And so look.
I was
there's ways to get banned on this channel, Leslie. There's ways to get banned. You understand? There's ways to get banned.
What I was going to say,
there will be no comments referring to Cider's unfortunate vertical challenges in his life.
His afflictions, yeah.
I can reach the top of the fridge. I cannot tell you what's on top of it. We can go on an adventure together.
I can tell you something's up there. Just don't know what it is. Could be,
I can reach it. I can't see it. Okay.
Could be a bag of rice. Could be a rat. Who knows?
Cider has a built-in icebreaker for dates. You want to play what's on top of the fridge? Let's see.
I'll give you a hint. It's not me. No, what works with the tall girls I dated was I see a mountain, I climb a mountain, and wouldn't you know. They tend to like that. They're like, aha, so you're not threatened. I'm like, no, actually, I brought my hiking gear.
Have you seen this video that's been going around on Twitter today where it's like love has no bounds or whatever, and it's this wrestling guy. I don't know where he is, what country, but he's like 5'3" and he wins a match and he like stands up and he starts like, yeah, and then he like walks over to his who is like 6'2", and she like envelops him and I'm just like, that's the dream.
But that's the thing. My experience with tall girls, and then again, you got to keep in mind I'm in Southern California, so the metrics may be a little bit more skewed.
Yeah.
But you know, the tall girls that I've had experience with is that it's not that they're like scared of looking for guys who don't want to date them because they're too tall or whatnot. They're looking for men who are even taller than them. So it's like if you got some girl who's like 6'3", she's looking for someone who's like 6'7" and 6'8", right? But the problem is that guys who are actually 6'7" and 6'8", they go for like girls who are like 5'5", like way shorter than them.
You can fit in my pocket.
And then they get mad at the short girls because they're stealing all the men that they want. But then all the 5'7", 5'9" dudes who would clearly go out with these 6'8", they don't want anything to do with them. So it's like, well, guess what? Kind of sounds like a you problem at that point.
It's a skill issue, babe.
Jacob's completely right. Like, even
nerdigans.
We're both like tall guys, but yeah, the women are 6'2" or whatever. They go, I still want a tall guy, and it's like you gotta at least face reality here. Like you at least gotta accept that that's going to be a real roll of the dice if that's what you're holding out for.
Yeah.
So
that's
Leslie,
the thing, though. Like us women like to look up, not down.
What are you, dog?
For that reason.
So Leslie, okay, my father told me, he was born in 1929. He told me this. He said, it's better to be a man among women than a man among men. All right. He was 5'5". So just do the math. Okay. I'm taller than my father, believe it or not. So as much as it matters, a whole 2 inches, but I am taller than my father. But that's
actually really good advice. I love that.
It hasn't failed me.
Well, you know, like I remember back in like high school and stuff, right? Like a lot of people be like, oh, you're not to me, but like to the theater kids or whatever, like, oh, you're joining theater, blah, blah, blah. But all the theater kids were like, dude, it's me and like 48 women or like 48 girls. Like I'm okay with getting made fun of.
And we're all going through puberty at once. So
dude, we're all going through puberty at once. We're all going on like overnight trips. They're the stories.
I get it. On paper, it sounds great, but you gotta be careful though, because I mean, there's a lot of manic depressives in that group too. So you really gotta be on your A game. They're weak.
So you've heard the term catch and release, right, Jacob? I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is run a few background checks and then make your decision. don't go right into it.
At least, you know, don't give your phone number. Give them like a Discord that you can easily abandon or something.
You know what's a really good filter? If they like Snow White. And if you just ask them, like, what's your opinion on Snow White? And they go, I liked it. You're like, okay, there's my ride.
See, I would go, what do you mean you liked it? And they'd be like, you know, I went and I took, you know, my brother and his kids, like we all went out or whatever. And it was fine. Like, cool. But if they were like, it was the best, I'm so glad they did it, I would be like, click, block, call the police, call Call the National Guard. I'll call ICE at this point if that's what you say.
Oh. Because, well, I for a minute there, I was like, wait, Rachel Zegler's Polish, but everybody thinks she's Latina. So I was like, what will happen? Yeah. Where will they send her?
Send her to the raft.
So that,
right
oh, geez.
National waters.
You know, I half wonder, sometimes I wonder if we're going to build that eventually, you know, we're just going to start putting movie stars in there.
No, you don't want to put them all together. That makes it a powder keg. We'll get even more.
They'll organize.
They'll organize, and then we'll only get like Don't Look Up sequels for the next 3 years or like 30 years. Let me correct myself.
Oh no.
Don't look up, don't look right, don't look down, don't look left, don't look sideways.
Don't look.
Yeah, don't look. That's the final one. And then
then
the crossover film at the end is woke.
So to close out things, though, we do have the new filter that's going around X right now. Everybody and their brothers running images of themselves and images of different things through. And we have a great rendition of anime Shinzo Abe saying, "See you, space cowboy," as he is astro projected over Mount Fuji.
I feel like this could be the thing that finally kills Miyazaki, right? Like
murders him
right now.
Yeah.
He's just gonna go out, and that's why like. I want to see.
Sir, a Miyazaki filter has hit X.
Like I want to see. So Miyazaki like famously doesn't do internet. He doesn't like technology. He is very, as much as we love his work, he is very much a curmudgeon. Get off my lawn. So I want to see like a slapstick comedy where his son, who is online and handles like the business stuff, he has to like try to prevent his dad from seeing this.
All the AI bullshit.
Right. But then his dad already hates him. Like that is on record. His dad has a very low opinion of him. So it would just be that situation where like he keeps doing things to make sure he doesn't see it, but his dad just thinks that he's being annoying. So it makes it all worse. And it's just roll it out from there. It's like a Goofy movie, but with Japanese guys.
Miyazaki's such a bastard. I love him. Such a bastard, but I love him.
Right? Like you can go, you bastard, but damn if your movies aren't pretty.
So we have a demonstration of how this works. So we have this very iconic photo that went around a few weeks ago with many modifications, and now we have a new one that became a bit more comic booky than anime.
I was gonna say that one's a little less Miyazaki than it is like
1990s Marvel.
Yeah, 1990s Marvel. This is the animated series. This is the Trump animated series that they would have made in like 94, right?
Yeah.
When everything got an animated series.
Well, he had his own board game. So yeah, he probably did. Didn't he have Trump Jr.? Wasn't that an anime? Yeah, animated series. No.
There was Richie Rich, and then there was that really, really unfunny cartoon they made during the Bush years, like Lil Bush.
Which was like, that one, yeah.
And that one was really, even as somebody who does not like Bush, like that was another one of those just like liberal level, like,
do you remember
Bush is dumb? And it's just like, okay, what else you got? Like,
do you remember That's My Bush?
Vaguely. Was that the live action one?
Yeah, that was one where they were in an apartment for whatever reason.
Yes,
they were in an
I
apartment,
and
it was like a sitcom about all the White House stuff happening in some high rise in New York rather than DC. So dude, like all the West Wing stuff is happening in this shitty apartment. I kind of really love that.
I was gonna say, like, I'm in for that. I told you like the other week, like I still genuinely love and I miss the presidents playing video games, like AI memes that we were doing like 3 or 4 years ago, right? Like Biden and Obama and Trump, like playing Call of Duty or Fortnite, whatever. I would watch a sitcom of old presidents hanging out, as long as you didn't just try to make it SNL like level of humor. Like there's somebody out there who could probably make it really clever.
No, we've already got it, Spencer. We really do. The AI presidents gaming together. It really has evolved. It really has evolved.
Like I haven't seen any recent ones, but if it's good enough, that, you know what, that might even be an advantage to AI, where they're just like, we're just gonna make one quick little joke instead of trying to wrap a bunch of like 700 layers of context and references and blah 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 blah.
We are this close to former presidents playing Yu-Gi-Oh on motorcycles. We are
please
presidential political Yu-Gi-Oh on card games on motorcycles. There we go. That'll be the
we really need to get to a point where like wars are decided by giant digital monsters like playing like on cards.
Obama, I'm summoning dark magician. Trump's like, I bet you are.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that you are.
and then I summon Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Saw that one coming.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's that. We're this close. We're this close. But see, this is the majesty of AI. Is it robs Hollywood of their ability to like capture propaganda, of being able to capture a message, of being able to capture people's attention. Because now we get all of this huge cinematic effect that we can apply to this stuff. Like I replaced the face on Kamen Rider Decade for a parody video of JD Vance being a vice president traveling through the various conservative worlds and uniting them under MAGA, okay? And that's it. It was just this dumb little meme that I made it, put an AI song behind it. And it captured a lot of people's attention. Not a lot of them liked it. Let's put it that way. But it captured a lot of people's attention.
Universally hated, but that's not the point.
Well, and when I created that, but when I created that AI, when I created that AI version of us as the Gozujers, they're the new Super Sentai, that one took off immediately. That was a huge response because it grabbed people's attention, produced something that looked close enough to the genuine thing. And this is where you rob Hollywood of their power. You can produce Avengers Doomsday with AI and limited animation, probably in a week. You could produce that entire movie. It'll look like shit, but you could probably hit all their story beats in a week and pretty much show it. It'll look bad, but you could pretty much show it. But in a year, I don't know. I've said since we got this started with generative AI that one day you're going to pay a subscription to Warner Brothers, like $20, in order to have control of their library, and you will generate an AI movie based on your preferences. So like
Didn't
Wesley Snipes as Blade versus the Transformers. There's something going around about it. They're hiring people to train AI, and that's all I know. But Universal is hiring people to do this as well. So but again, this is what it'll do. And what you'll generate is a movie that they have copyright control of, but it was made to your specification. So you get to watch your movie unlimited for $20 a month. You can make as many movies as you like, but everyone you make is Warner Brothers owns because it's made with their assets, similar with Disney. So it'll all be walled off very nicely. You can generate all your Disney movies over here. You can generate all your Warner Brothers movies over here, and they're all this walled off with your various subscriptions and stuff like that. It'll be added to your streaming package, and that'll be how it works. Because again, like we're just this close to it. Right now, I subscribe to an AI that I can enter in a text prompt, and it'll generate not just the video, but it'll generate the background sounds. And not only the background sounds, it'll generate the voice. And if I ask it to, right, it'll lip sync it to audio I provide and merge that noise into the background noise so it sounds native to it. So we're this close to being able to produce a 3-hour movie right on your dumb little phone while you're putting your microwave meal into the microwave. So in 5 minutes or less, you'll have a 3-hour movie made to your exact specifications.
Sounds awful. Can wait.
Do you think cinema's bad now? Wait until 4chan has control of like what goes like blockbuster level, you know?
Wait until 4chan has the ability to control jiggle physics via AI. It's going to be game over.
Everything is just going to be you just hit the Netflix logo will jiggle. Like they'll give the Netflix logo boobs. And I'm all for it.
Well, that's it for us though. I mean, on that bombshell. That's it for us. We did cover just about everything anyway. And
anybody else? Nerdigans, Jacob, anything else you wanted to hit?
No,
yeah, we got an update.
Damn.
There's one thing real quick. There is Jim Cummings is coming back for the Darkwing Duck reboot.
Didn't even know they were doing a Darkwing Duck reboot.
Yep, it's Seth Rogen that's doing it, of course.
Well, that's why I know. That's why I didn't know they were doing a Darkwing Duck reboot.
You should have led with that, Nerdigans.
Oops,
yeah, seriously, like you get interest for a second, and then you go, "Oh, by the way, it's going to be poopy."
So last night, I decided we really seriously need to talk about doing like a reaction thing for like Cider hasn't seen anything in his sheltered Maine little life, right?
Nope. I grew up in a tree. I lived literally inside the trunk of a tree.
So we need to do a series called Cider Hasn't Seen Shit or something along to those lines. There's a whole bunch of references.
Cider don't know Jack.
So there's a commercial, a 2002 commercial featuring Papa Roach with Pepsi Blue. If you guys don't remember Pepsi Blue, it was a berry flavored Pepsi variant from the early 2000s.
It was kind of really, really good. I really liked it.
It was only there for a while, but
I only tasted it secondhand.
Pepsi Blue and Pepsi Crystal. They should have kept those. Those should not.
Oh, I actually never got a Crystal Pepsi, but I've heard the stories.
Oh, here you go.
This is for a soda, by the way.
And this isn't just like degraded audio, guys. This is what the world sounded like back then.
Yeah.
Everything had a new metal beat under it.
Pepsi Blue, a fusion of berries with a splash of cola. Pepsi Blue, it's a blue thing.
Like, can you just smell this? Does this point in time have a smell for you? Like, I look at this and I can smell a very specific kind of berry smell. I never drank this. It was
back here on TRL. The number one video today is Avril Lavigne with "Complicated." Let's go.
Yeah, I didn't have that. So so again, like you're gonna have to We Show Cider or something like that.
We Show Cider MTV.
We're gonna have to nostalgia run entire periods of Cider's youth.
We'll just send him a bunch of packages of things, and every week he'll have to open it and be like, "What is this food? What is this game? What is this movie?"
It's really strange. It is because like you guys show me all this stuff, and I'm like, this happened. This was real. They did this. Like I've never seen this commercial before. Pepsi Blue just showed up in the cooler one day, and
you were
one
like,
of the gals I was dating really liked it because it made her tongue blue, and that was the big thing about it. I didn't like the smell of it. I didn't like the smell of it because it reminded me of the shampoo that she was wearing, so I couldn't get beyond like, oh, this is soap.
This is a cleaning product, and
right.
Yeah, I totally.
So I couldn't get beyond it. It smelled nice, but all I could think of was shampoo, so I didn't get into it. But so Pepsi Blue had a really cool label, and I remember that, just like the dragon print label we were talking about earlier. They had a really cool label on it, and I remember that particularly. There was like this new metal style font to it. It was like kind of like Motorcycle Club Pepsi Blue. It's kind of this weird.
They were all that's like the style everybody was leaning into back then. Like when they remember, that's when they did the like Mountain Dew used to have just like that red and green like text, and then they got like the angle Avengers like text logo that they've been using since like 2004, right? Like they all extreme. This was still the extreme period, bro. Right? Like Tony Hawk was king at this time.
Well, Tony Hawk's making a comeback, and I mean, something that I did, and I got to give him mad props for, is Bam Margera was going to be banned from the Tony Hawk reboot, taken out of it. And Tony Hawk's like, no, you're not doing that. Put him back in. And now Bam Margera is back in Tony Hawk.
See, Tony can walk. He has that fuck off money. He can walk if he wants to.
And I mean,
they know that.
His name is on the freaking franchise, and it's not like it's his own creation. Like, it's not like Stan Lee and Steve Ditko made Spider-Man, and that it's like legitimately like this is Tony Hawk's Pro Skate. Like, you don't have his name, he will take it away, and then nobody's gonna want to buy your game.
Nobody wants Pro Skater.
Nobody wants Pro Skater, especially when they're making it worse. They're taking away in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, they made it so that instead of just going onto a level and you had 2 minutes to find whatever objectives you wanted to do, you could like free skate around the map and go pick, oh yeah, I want to do a trick mission. I want to do a skate mission. And they took that away. And I'm pissed off because I'm like, why are we taking features away from video games now? Like, you've already got it out there. Just update it. Whoa!
Here's a little Crystal Pepsi, then we can get out of here.
Those poor souls.
Wait, was that David Hasselhoff that we saw in the red Speedo diving in?
No, it was just generic white guy in red Speedo.
Are you?
The reason why I say that is like the first thing I thought of when I saw it was David Hasselhoff in the SpongeBob SquarePants.
In SpongeBob,
movie.
yeah.
I was like, that's why. Is that David Hasselhoff? It's not Kitty. It's not David Hasselhoff.
So there you go.
Yep,
That's that. Yep.
The Hoff.
I do remember that. For a time, Pepsi had the third most powerful navy on Earth until they had to forcibly surrender those to the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So there was that. But,
oh my gosh, instead of like Diamond Dogs, it's like the Pepsi Dogs. It's like a PMC that exists in like international waters with a
and then they were going to sell
Pepsi
a fighter
logo.
jet.
That was what that's what it was part of, was like for a contest you could win a fighter jet, and they got it, like you could have, and then I think somebody stepped in and was like, you can't give away a fighter jet, like tech.
So
like,
no, there was a
okay,
guy
you
that won the
can,
contest
but you can't.
and sued to get the fighter jet because they were going to
He
give
did,
him the
yep.
money, and he said, "No, I want the fighter jet." And they're like, "We can't. That's not how this works."
They're
And
like,
of course, the U.S.
it's
government
currently
said,
deployed over Coketopia. We can't just recall it.
Coketopia. But no, the U.S. government had to step in and officially write a letter to the guy as part of the legal agreement that said, "Yeah, no, we can't sell military hardware to private citizens, even though the Constitution doesn't bar that. Unfortunately, we simply can't trust you not to bomb your neighbors."
They were like, you are technically right, but come on, man. Like,
right. And so that's where it ended up. And he didn't even get the money. They just told him to fuck off. And that was the end of the whole thing. Pepsi.
And that's why you don't get any prizes now that aren't just like cash or more Pepsi.
So now that we're at the end of the show, we've talked about prizes. Now, Miss Nerdigans, where do we find you after the show's over?
You can find me on Nerdigans Inc. on YouTube, where I cover anime and manga every day. And right after this, I got 2 chapters of Record of Ragnarok that like literally dropped while we were streaming. So I'll be covering that right after this. On Patreon, patreon.com/PackerGirls, where I'm doing my anime live reactions because I don't want to deal with copyright strikes. I just finished fighting another false copyright strike. It's gone, thank God. But you can also find me on Twitter right here, where I'm causing a lot of shenanigans and posting news and updates. And in regards to bounding, I'm working on Anime Japan content. I already have My Hero Academia and Panty and Stocking finished. I just got to add a couple things to One Piece, and then that's done. And I got a few more to go right after that. Oh God, it's been very frustrating having to try and find all the stage event reports so I can make sure everything is accurate. But
that's the level of work and quality you deliver.
Well, yeah, I want to make sure that because no one else is talking about the stage events, I might as well do it.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah, and I also have to like compensate for the fact that Crunchyroll gives us crap press releases with like no info.
They are the most like pressiest of press releases. Like there's just nothing in them except like it's
so,
coming. Here's the date. Bye.
So it's like, yeah, you got to do your own research, like go the extra mile. It's like, dude, this shouldn't be the case. And they give you no photos either. That makes it worse because that means I got to find my own photos.
Yep.
But yeah, so stay tuned.
Okay. Jacob, where do we find you after the show's over?
You can find me at Society Reviews. Yeah, last night we did the Barroom podcast. We talked about some stories, talked about Snow White, more detail, Bella Thorne, gangs in LA, you can't wear certain hats and colors without getting shot. That was a whole thing we talked about last night. We went back to 1995. Go check out that over there on the Society Reviews. Got the Bible Ins coming out on Sundays as well. I know I've been slacking on content the last couple of weeks. That's because I got a lot of things going on. I just had enough time to refocus. Hopefully within the next week or so, I can kind of get back into the groove of, doing the movie reviews, the 511 show. I haven't stopped doing any of that stuff. It's just, it's taking up more time, unfortunately. So I'm trying to get back onto the saddle with that. But outside of that, that's what I got coming up here for now. So yeah, I'll be getting back into it sooner rather than later.
All right, man. And Spencer, where do we find you when the show's over?
Yeah, well, first off, I want to say I'm super stoked to be back, guys. I missed you these last, 2-3 weeks? I don't even know anymore. Time runs together. So missed y'all. Very happy to be back here. Can't wait to see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, check out boundingintocomics.com for new news. Check out everything my fine friends here have going on their respective channels. And you will have to soon update your contacts for me. I did just get the message right now. I did get a position at Ubisoft. So I will see you guys there. Until then.
Right. And as always, guys, the YouTube channel here is chugging away, delivering information, news, and coverage. We are leaning into some more Japanesey stuff. So if you like hearing more about Japanese culture, Japanese entertainment information, stuff like that that's going on, you probably see more of that pop up around the channel as well. Just trying out new audience stuff simply because the conversation about Western media is kind of drying up. And so we'd like to continue having conversations with you about entertainment that does interest us, which does center itself on Japanese and South Korean media. So you'll probably see more of that pop up around the channel.
Because guys, it's some people will have it in them. I don't think the four of us can muster more anything about chairs, right? Like
Rob said it himself last night on the show. He hasn't watched a single movie from 2025 yet this year. That's how bad the year is. Like
legitimately what has even come out? I guess just that Looney Tunes movie is even the only one I care about. And that was like, you had to pull teeth to get that one.
The best movie I've seen so far this year is Queen of the Ring, and that's a movie about female pro wrestling. You have to be like a niche inside of a mart to even seek out that film. And
that film's super random. Hadn't heard about it until you watched it and you were talking about it on your streams and stuff. And then I looked up the poster. The movie stars Emily Bett Rickards, who I don't think that means anything to you, Jacob, but she was Felicity in Arrow for all like 8 seasons, and she kind of like disappeared, and then out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, hey, she's right there. What the heck? So that was just a sort of like, oh, hey, you're alive.
Yeah, you're still doing stuff.
Well, all right then. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and we'll see you next week.
Way down south in Japan-Obama, where the cypress sways and the creek runs wide, there's a sacred stretch of muddy water where the heart of the people's always tied. Norbert Nagy stood before the town, said the mud holes meant for one and all. The Jethro shoguns came riding in, built the tailgate temple tall. Yasuke's riding tall tonight, steel in his hand in the mud just right. Bound by honor, bound by land, for the folks who fish, for the kids who stand. Oh, Yasuke's riding tall tonight. Through the pines and past the levee came the warrior bold and true, with a heart as strong as the rising sun and a 4-wheel drive that flew. Jethro's clan stood shoulder to shoulder, coolers stacked and bonfires high, but Yasuke called the river spirit and the flood rolled in with a battle cry. Yasuke's riding tall tonight, steel in his hand in the mud just right. Bound by honor, bound by land, for the folks who fish, for the kids who stand. Oh, Yasuke's riding